Hello, friends. This is Sam Cheney reporting for Weaponized News. Today's July 6, 2026. Thank you for joining us on this Monday edition of Weaponized News. We're waiting for people to come online right now. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. We have a lot to go over today as per usual. Let's take a look. Hopefully everybody had a safe and sane 4th of July, made it back with all your fingers and all of that, didn't burn down the neighborhood. Welcome to the Monday edition of Weaponized News. Quite a bit to go over. We'll take a look back at a America 250 celebration. What does Shadow President of America, Bibby, have to say about it? We'll get his Independence Day message, most important for most Americans. What else do we got here? Quite a bit today, actually. A little bit more from America, from Trump on Iran war. They're in a giant mourning period there in Tehran. Millions in the streets, flying the red flag of vengeance. Take a look at all of this as it is and continues to transpire. We will take a look at the battle against surveillance centers here in America. Sun Valley 2026 guest list is out. Take a look at big tech bros saving the world, attending that elitist meeting. They're spying, somebody allegedly is spying on Klaus Schwab. Take a look at those reports. What else? We got a little bit more Epstein reporting today, as per usual. We have a whole lot of economic reporting. We've got this petition by Jim Lee and others fighting against geoengineering. Petition for rulemaking, aviation aerosol emissions. We'll take a hard look at that. A bunch of other public health news. We have some fluoride news. We have Bobby Kennedy Jr. again, showing you it's all professional wrestling with literal professional wrestlers. Whole lot of economic news. A bunch of geopolitical news. Russia, Ukraine, bombing the hell out of each other. Quite horrific. And there's a big NATO meeting going on right now. I don't know if we had much to cover of that. We'll be covering that all this week. And they're leveling Gaza and Lebanon. Same continued story. We got the ins and outs of all of that. The genocides, massacres, and ethnic cleansing continue. We'll cover all the horrific details on those fronts for you today. I see some people coming on the line here. Shout out to Karen on the Rumble. Shout out to Def on the YouTube. Or excuse me, yeah, Mac. All right, let's get to all the news. We have a lot to cover today. Oh, and rigging the World Cup. Looks like Howard Lutnick and Trump are rigging the World Cup. Cover that as well. All right, let's get to this day in history. On this day of July 6th, we go back to the year 1189. Richard the Lionheart is crowned King of England upon the death of King Henry II. 1348, on this day, the papal bull of Pope Clemente IV issued during the Black Death states that aardvarks are not to blame and encourages their protection. 1415, on this day, Bohemian religious reformer Jan Hus is burned at the stake in Constance, Germany. 1776, on this day, the American Declaration of Independence is announced on the front page of the Pennsylvania Evening Gazette. Right here. There you go. On this day in 1885, William T. Stead's The Maiden Tribute of Modern Babylon is first published. Describes how he was able to buy a 13-year-old girl in the Pall Mall Gazette. What has much changed? What has much changed? Not much. They have, I guess they've upgraded the technology on the trafficking here now, and they put out Sears-like catalogs, and you go on these different internet sites selling toys and furniture. They're selling kids, so not much has changed here now. That was 1885. 1893, on this day, the small town of Pomeroy, Iowa, is nearly destroyed by a tornado that kills 71 people and injures another 200. 1919, on this day, Institute for Sexual Science opened in Berlin by physician Magnus Hirschfeld to establish study of sexual science. And on this day in 1923, the Soviet Union is founded. The Central Executive Committee accepts the Treaty of Union signed in Moscow in December 1922, and the Russian Empire becomes the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. On this day, 1923, 1939, on this day, Nazi Germans close last aardvark enterprises. 1970, on this day, California passes the first no-fault divorce law in the United States. And on this day in 2020, we're told by the United Nations, zoonotic diseases, which jump from animals to humans, are increasing due to unsustainable farming and climate change, according to the United Nations. But we don't care about any of that now because we have surveillance data centers to build. So all that old narrative, it still runs parallel, but what the hell are you going to do when you got Terminators to roll out? Then who cares about spontaneous combustion due to climate change and zoonotic diseases and the rest? They have Terminators to build, you see. And on this day in our civil liberties history, we go back to the year 1916. Army announces 1916. Okay, so First Amendment, America. On this date of July 6, 1916, Army announces press censorship plans in case of war. The United States Army on this day, speaking through Major Douglas MacArthur, announces plans for censoring the press in the event that the United States entered into the European War, what at the time was called the Great War, and we now know as World War I. MacArthur was later the commander of U.S. forces in the Pacific during World War II. The Army's plans were developed in response to a request from Congress, which was considering a bill to censor the press in wartime. That's good of them, right? So why would you go support this evil, corrupt system fighting a foreign war when they plan to censor your natural rights here at home? That's the million-dollar question. The plan stated that adverse criticism of the war effort may tend to destroy the efficiency of the war effort. The Army cited the press censorship that existed in England, France, and Germany as Europe entered the third year of what came to be known as World War I. In the end, Congress debated but never passed a press censorship law because of strong opposition from the news media and also from Republicans who were fearful of that President Woodrow Wilson, a Democrat, would abuse it to their disadvantage. Despite the absence of press censorship law after the United States entered the war on April 6, 1917, the federal government embarked on a massive suppression of freedom of speech and press regarding criticism of the war. Better believe it. You better believe it. They don't need an official law to oppress our First Amendment here now, do they? All right, here's our segue to the news. Trump pumping that stock market, ringing the bell, the first ever. This is posted by the White House. Trump rings the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ opening bell from the Oval Office for the first time earlier today.
So ring the bell, Mr. President.
You got Michael Dell's weird Stepford-looking wife there. Is she a robot drone clone? We don't know. She's there. She gave a talk as well. Was the cult and esoteric symbology of bells? Bells carry deep cross-cultural esoteric significance far beyond their practical use. Their sound vibration through the air represents the bridge between material and spiritual realms. The announcement of change and shifts in consciousness or energy, awakening or higher consciousness. Bells symbolize calling attention to the present moment, expanding awareness, or, quote, waking up from illusion. In esoteric traditions, the resonance helps disengage the mundane mind, making it receptive to higher wisdom or inner voice. Hearing ringing, one signals a call to listen to intuition or heralds transformation. Summoning or banishing in witchcraft, Wicca, shamanism, and ritual magic. Bells invoke spirits, elementals, or deities, or banish negative energies, demons. The vibrations clear stagnant energy, raise the frequency of a space, and mark transitions. They act as a sonic barrier or portal activator. Divine voice or announcement, often called the voice of God or a herald of holy supernatural power. In Christianity, church bells. In Hinduism, temple bells. And other faiths, they purify, ward off evil storms, summon the faithful, or signal divine presence. The clapper and body can represent knowledge, wisdom, and infinity. Time cycles and transitions. Bells mark beginnings, ends, trading day rituals, life phases. Esoterically, they signify karmic shifts, cosmic announcements, or the striking of the hour. In initiatory or alchemical processes. In Freemasonry and related traditions, bells appear in degree rituals denoting time and solemnity, tying into themes of moral awakening and symbolic labor. There's a lot going on there. They're selling the Trump accounts today is a big part of this, pumping the rigged up stock market for the youth of America. Here's a big Merca 250 in DC fireworks display. and we'll get to some of the health consequences. That was DC, July 4th, of course. Here's some of the health consequences. We're going to come back to this guy, Brian Johnson. He has an autoimmune disease. His stomach is eating itself. We'll come back to him, but he does make a good post here. This is the guy, the transhumanist guy. He's trying to live forever, life extension technology. Looks like it's not working out so good for him. Anyhow, I do agree with this post for the most part. He says DC's giving itself a hazardous dose of toxins tonight, talking about that big fireworks show. Largest fireworks display in U.S. history, dropping 9 metric tons of toxic chemicals on the city. Air quality 2 to 8 times higher than hazardous levels. Toxin 17 to 57 times higher than acceptable levels. Chemicals settling into groundwater and food. Average person will inhale he goes through 81 UG strontium deposits in lung tissue, 81 UG barium, potent gastrointestinal cardiac toxant, 27 UG aluminum oxides, pulmonary inflammation. Oh, that's some of the ingredients of the chemtrails they spray on us all the time. So that's good to know. 27 UG titanium oxides, pulmonary inflammation, 27 copper, oxidative stress on your respiratory system. And so here's a little infographic about it. We do love our poison here in America for freedom. You can see right there. We'll come back to him. He did post this health alert about breathing in all that toxic air due to the fireworks. So good for him on that account. But we'll come back to the tragedy that is his search for immortality. The feds rolled out these jokers, the Patriot Front again. I guess they still have some funding at the Southern Poverty Law Center to fund the hate groups. I don't know. But here they were on January 4th.
That lady looks like mom. That lady looks just like mom. Oh, yeah.
And so they're still doing this nonsense. Allegedly, they're white nationalists, something like this. They're a bunch of feds trying to stir up hate, essentially, here now. So we do appreciate the July 4th appearance of the Patriot Front. Here's Bibi, Shadow President of America, wishing us a happy Independence Day.
There are moments when history speaks to us. This is one of them. My dear friends, President Trump and the people of America, today the United States celebrates 250 years of independence, 250 years of freedom, 250 years of defending freedom. On behalf of the people of Israel, I wish you all a happy and joyful Independence Day. My friends, this 4th of July carries a special meaning for me personally. Exactly 50 years ago, as America celebrated its bicentennial, Israel carried out one of the greatest hostage rescue missions in history, Operation Jonathan in Entebbe, Uganda. More than 100 innocent hostages were brought home alive by our courageous soldiers. One commander did not, my brother Yoni. He gave his life so that others could live. This is what the brave soldiers of Israel and America have done again and again in these 50 years. And 50 years later, we are still defending freedom. We may live in different continents, but there's a strong bond between us because we have one destiny. We know that freedom is never cheap.
What a load of shit. They keep on trying to put little hats on the founding fathers. It just doesn't jive with reality. They don't care. Here's old Mike Huckabee, traitor, ambassador to Aardvark land, celebrating America's 250th anniversary of our independence with the president of Aardvark land. All this is just so unnatural, it's just so bizarre, but these are traitors.
This is also a time to express our deepest appreciation for the unique and unbreakable partnership between the United States of America and Israel. Our two nations draw from the same wellsprings of the Bible, and we share the same fundamental values of freedom, democracy, and human dignity. Under your leadership, Mr. President, this special bond and our unique alliance continues to grow. I thank you for your steadfast commitment to Israel's security. The people of Israel will never forget your tireless efforts to bring back our beloved hostages to their home. May you continue to lead the Middle East and the world towards peace and security. Thank you. Mazal Tov. Congratulations, America.
Thank you, Mr. President. We're honored to have you here, honored to call you friend.
Thank you.
Truly disgusting. They're genociding the Palestinians and Lebanese as we speak. America 250, they had a bunch of people overheating there. But, yeah, in D.C., it's fine, though, because Miriam Adelson, would she give over $200 million to Trump campaign? She got a special escort. She's not even born in America, born in Aardvark land. So this is America, corrupt as the day is long there, as Americans born in this country are having problems with the heat, but she's has a special VIP escort here. Truly disturbing. Another. It's the Democrats, it's the Republicans, no, it's the deep state, it's the uniparty. No, it's the corrupt, same old corrupt government. It's always been, and they're literally laughing in her face. Here's Bill Clinton celebrating the 80th birthday of George W. Bush. Wait a minute. I thought Republicans and Democrats were supposed to hate each other. Not so much. Not so much. Happy 80th birthday to my friend George W. Bush. What? Our country is stronger when we remember that what unites us is greater than what divides us. What unites these guys? Eating children, mass murder, genocide, never-ending lies, and stealing from the American people. That's what unites these bastards. But literally showing you it's professional wrestling. It's the Democrats, it's the Republicans. No, it's the corrupt government. Vote hard in this upcoming November election. If you don't vote for Republicans, then the commies are going to take over. That's literally all the Republicans have to run on at this point is we're better than communists. Are they really? Are they? Here's Trump earlier today on Iran war. We may go back to war with them at any time.
Close to maybe making a deal. I don't know. We'll make either. Look, we're going to win one way or the other. We're either going to make a deal or we're going to finish the job. Okay? And it won't be tough to finish the job. I'd rather make a deal because I don't want to affect 91 million people. We can knock down their bridges in 1 hour. We can knock out their energy supply, all of those big plants that they built, big, beautiful, modern plants. They had a lot of money. They don't have any money now. We haven't given them any money. But we can knock out their electricity and power generating plants. And I would say small part of an afternoon. Every plane will be gone. And they know that. They know that.
Targeting civilian infrastructure is a straight up war crime. They're just casualties. Yeah, we'll commit war crimes against Iran. It's just beyond the pale of disgusting at this point. Out of Iran today, ZBS News tells us U.S.-Iran talks are paused for the multi-day funeral of Iran's slain, murdered by Trump, assassinated by Trump, Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. Thousands of people gathered. It's a lot more than thousands. We have a lot of video. It's hundreds of thousands. They say thousands of people gathered in Tehran's streets and squares today, mostly dressed in black, with some carrying banners and pictures of the late leader. 3 sons of the former Iranian Supreme Leader made a rare public appearance at his funeral. We have Ahmadinejad appeared there, and a couple others appeared there on the streets with the people, with the Iranian people, as part of this ongoing funeral ceremony. Here's some video of it. It's they had quite the turnout there in Tehran, Iran. Let's take a look at some of the video. Some of the video coming out. See all those red flags in the crowd? Those are red flags of vengeance. We'll get to more of that reporting later in the show here. Here's a giant banner of Trump getting stoned, not smoking the marijuana. They're literally throwing stones at it. They're in Iran. Yeah, Iran's still pretty pissed off, I'd have to say. They're shocked over here on the corporate Mockingbird media. Shocking.
That and the fact that they have the world's media, they're covering it on the ground. And, we've talked about this before on your show. The Iranian regime is very well versed in using the foreign media for its propaganda purposes. I mean, we need to remember that this man that people are mourning is also responsible for tens of thousands, the deaths of tens of thousands of people. And yes, notable that his son, the now so-called Supreme Leader, is not there, but he hasn't even been heard of, or heard from, rather. We haven't heard his voice. Okay, so if he is injured, severely injured, and they don't want us to see him, we haven't even heard his voice. So there has, we've talked about this again. There's questions as to whether or not he's even alive or at best in a coma. Now, what I have found interesting in my reporting is I've been speaking to sources inside Tehran, and I spoke to a man who I've been in touch with for some time, about a decade, has kind of wobbled between supporting the regime and then being very anti-regime. Last year was upset at Trump for not, quote unquote, finishing the job during the 12-day war in June. I asked him, I said, are you going to Khamenei's funeral? And he said, I might go to the funeral tomorrow. I haven't decided yet. And I asked, I'm curious why people are going to the funeral if they don't like the regime. And he said, I can't speak for others, but for me, everything changed when Trump killed kids in Manab and said that his goal was to end Iranian civilization. He made it clear that we're not human to him.
Very bad miscalculation by the Trump administration, taking information from Bibi there. I guess the border's closed. One good thing out of the Trump administration. But again, they've militarized the border. And we see today the Federal Reserve is scapegoating illegal aliens. We'll get to that report. Biden border. And still no one in the Biden administration, no NGOs, nonprofits, government, no one of any position, of any significance has gotten in trouble or will get in trouble for the millions upon millions of illegals they let come across our open borders. But we can get a giant surveillance police state here now to try to sort out all of these illegals to oppress the American people. And they're still busting people at the reflecting pool there. Latest law enforcement numbers from the reflecting pool: 7 arrests, 7 additional people issued federal citations, 19 incidences reported. What a friggin' disaster. With a essentially martial law at the reflecting pool, with fences, armed guards, helicopter patrols. What a great use of resources. Well, maybe one thing here in America can still bring us all together. The whole system, all it does 24/7, divide us up over race, religion, sex, politics, you name it. Find something and to divide us up why you're different. But at the end of the day, the very large majority of us are Joe Blow Americans, and maybe even we can even get over the left-right political divide in this country to rally together in opposition of the surveillance centers. Over 500,000 Americans are now organizing against data centers. The latest data center opposition report, membership rises above 500,000 and groups surpass 400 in 40 states. I don't know about this, joining up with this group, but here they are. Probably run by the feds. I don't know. I think every big group is. Call me paranoid. Call me experienced in activism. Data center opposition grows to 500,000 plus Americans. All bunch of damn Luddite terrorists, I tell you. So maybe this is the one uniting factor. But I'm sure they'll run some political psyop, disinformation, false flag campaign to divide us back up again. Why everybody needs a brain chip. Jason Bassler out of the Free Thought Project posted, organized theft rings are now hitting AI data center supply chains, stealing copper and hardware straight off the trucks before they even reach the construction site. So maybe, I don't know, maybe our love of precious metals here in this country can save us from these surveillance centers. I don't know. $1.3 million in stolen copper and gear recovered as organized crime rings shift to target AI data center supply chains. There you go. This is a crazy one. Flock cameras. Police go and, well, here's the video of it. There's a couple different videos. The cops, I don't know if these are feds or local But they say I think these are local actually. They go and shake this woman down. They say, we have cameras everywhere in that town, and you cannot get a breath of fresh air without us knowing. When police are emitting this out loud, it's time to admit the cage isn't coming. It's already inside. They go and confront this woman, and they allegedly caught on their flock cameras.
Can't get a breath of fresh air in or out without us knowing.
Chrisana Elzer learned the power of flock firsthand.
You were in town from 11:52 until 12:09. Exactly. Like I said, nothing gets in or out of the town without us knowing.
When a Colorado police officer showed up at her door holding flock snapshots of her truck.
And here's when you left at 12:09. That's when you left town.
To get.
No, to stop at Ridge Trail.
Wait a minute.
And take a package. Well, there's no shushing. I don't need to be.
I need to know where this is.
The first thing he pulled out on the body cam is that flock picture, the clear photograph of your car.
But here's your vehicle in the neighborhood many, many times, apparently casing houses, because you just can't drive through for work or visit other businesses. You can only be casing houses.
It is her. It is 100%. It is locked in. There is zero doubt. I wouldn't have come here unless I was 100% sure. 100%. It is certain. It is on video. You're obviously welcome to go to court.
Chrisana was charged with stealing a package, but it wasn't her. The porch pirate was somebody else.
Multiple times you tried to show him your video evidence. He didn't want to see it.
Even when I called him back, he said, that's not my job.
You looked at a time of a crime. You saw my vehicle entering in the flock camera.
No, what I did was, I did an investigation.
You called my wife a liar. You know this is back.
I have video evidence. I don't know what you want me to say.
The charges were dropped after Chrisana spent weeks trying to get the police chief to look at her evidence. Time-stamped video from her truck and a neighbor's doorbell camera showing she wasn't at the scene of the crime.
What does it say about where we are that you feel you have to have more cameras than the police have in order to make sure you can prove yourself innocent?
It sounds like it flipped the script to you're guilty until you prove yourself innocent.
Without a flock camera, that detective would not have been at her door. By his own admission, he pulled out the flock picture of her car. Do you want to apologize to Chrisana Elzer for what happened to her?
For the police misusing the tools? I don't think that I have to apologize.
He wasn't charged with a crime. He wasn't, other than being reprimanded for his attitude.
Sure. No, but I would tell you that, should I apologize for somebody misusing a tool? I don't think so.
Flock Safety Chief Communications Officer Josh Thomas.
Who's watching the watchers in these cases?
Well, the city council. The city owns the data, so city council would have the appropriate responsibility in that case. Our point of view has always been that it is not Flock's job to police the way police do their work.
Sun Valley Big Tech Pro Conference. They love all the surveillance. They love the data centers, the surveillance centers, the micro chips up everybody's rear end, brain chips, the whole technocracy routine. They're having a big conference, Sun Valley 2026 guest list, a mix of familiar moguls and newer names. Let's take a look at this out of the Observer. This year's Allen and Company conference in Sun Valley, Idaho, is expected to begin tomorrow, according to meeting minutes from the local Friedman Memorial Airport, which handles the stream of private jets that descend on the resort town each summer. As always, Variety has obtained the guest list. This year's roster pairs familiar power players in tech and media with a handful of notable newcomers. Among the expected attendees are Tim Cook out of Apple, Jeff Bezos, Amazon, Mark Zuckerberg, I make everything in my college dorm room, nothing to do with the CIA LifeLog, Sundar Pichai, again, Google, Alphabet, not set up by the feds at all, Sam Altman, OpenAI, they're looking for a bailout from his failed BS company there. media contingent includes David Ellison. There's no problem with Aardvarks buying up all the media. They don't control it. Just go look at the Ellison media properties. There's no big Aardvarks control the media. Go look at Ellison media properties. Bob Iger corrupting the youth through Disney. David Zaslav. Not really familiar with that dude. I'm sure he's a wonderful person, a la Trump. Netflix, Ted Sarandros, and Greg Peters, and the Murdochs. A few new names stand out, including Disney's new CEO, Josh D'Amaro. Josh D'Amaro. Apple's incoming new CEO, John Turnus, and ZBS's News's controversial Barry Weiss. Noticeably absent this year are Elon Musk. And who else is not heading there, or at least officially? We know they like to go in the back door in a lot of these big meetings, as well as to not be noticed and questioned about their tyrannical behavior. They say old Jensen Huang, CEO of NVIDIA, is not going to be there. And old Larry Ellison's not going to be there. His son, David, will be there. And Berkshire Hathaway's new CEO, Greg Abel. Let's see here. Did we miss anybody? Yeah, Alex Karp will be there, acting like a maniac as per usual. Let's see. Anthropic CEO Dario Modi will be there. Anybody else? Alpha School co-founder Mackenzie Price. And they go through a bunch of these media philanthropy. These are the good people that care more about you than you care about yourself. The philanthropic retail and investing. They have it broken up into sections. Bill Gates will be there. And so I don't know what the world would do without him as our doctor, even though he cheated on his wife, hung out with Epstein and all the rest of that. He still saved the world from the bats, obviously. Jared Kushner will be there with Affinity Partners. Josh Kushner, founder of Thrive Capital, will be there. Arts and Sports. They're rigging the World Cup right now. Roger Goodell, commissioner of the NFL, will be there. Rob Manafort, Rob Manfred, commissioner of Major League Baseball, will be there. Casey Weiserman, chairman of the LA 2028 Olympic Organizing Committee, will be there. Brian Lourdes, CEO of Creative Artist Agency, will be there. And Michael Rippon, CEO of Live Nation, will be there. Journalists who will come out and spin a bunch of propaganda and lies to us. And so we do appreciate their efforts. Gail King out of ZBS News, Anderson Cooper out of some type of dark occult. Out of CNN. Van Jones out of CNN. Brett Baer out of the War Channel, Fox News. Sorkin, Andrew Sorkin out of the New York Times. Evan Osnos out of the New Yorker. Thomas Friedman out of the New York Times. David Ignatius out of the Washington Compost. Jonathan Harady, social psychologist out of NYU. Roland Fryer, professor of economics out of Harvard University. They're trying to find people that were not exposed on the Epstein list. They can still show their face publicly, apparently, out of Harvard. William Bay, dean of USC. Annenberg School there. And we'll cover it as this meeting kicks off tomorrow, Sun Valley 2026. World Economic founder Klaus Schwab says he found secret listening device in his home. It was called a cell phone. No, he's talking about a bug, some type of bug, I believe. Report out of Bloomberg. Here now, World Economic Forum founder Klaus Schwab filed a criminal complaint in Geneva saying he discovered a listening device in his home office. The device was found after a router security inspection was conducted at his private home in Geneva, close to the World Economic Forum premises. According to an email statement from a spokesperson for Schwab, the complaint was filed against persons unknown. The initial assessment suggested that the device had been installed within the last 3 years. The statement said an investigation is now underway with the goal to identify the people responsible for its installation. According to the statement, the matter is especially sensitive given the significant public interest surrounding him during the period in question. It said at this stage, no conclusions are being drawn regarding the origin of the device or potential responsibility. Yeah, what the hell? It was Iranian terrorists, right? Yeah. No, they don't know, honestly, here. The accusation adds another twist to Klaus Schwab's high-profile departure and spat with the World Economic Forum. Slash left the WEF amid accusations of financial misconduct and a clash with the remaining leadership. He was eventually cleared, but only after a months-long investigation that hung over the organization, which runs the high-profile Davos event in the Swiss Alps. So they investigated themselves and found no wrongdoing. So, I mean, I don't know what anybody would complain about. Earlier this year, World Economic Forum Chief Executive Borj Brindy also stepped down from his position after emerged he had ties with Jeffrey Epstein. So I don't know. Hey, at least Klaus wasn't directly linked to Epstein, was he? So I wonder who could be listening to Klaus Schwab, or is this just all another ploy for sympathy? Another bug running around out there. There's rats everywhere, apparently, in listening devices. FBI infiltrated Gavin Newsom's inner circle by convincing governor's ally to wear a wire. And this came out, 4 days ago? I forget if I reported on this or not, but we should report on it again because apparently there's a big federal investigation into Governor Gavin Newsom here. FBI infiltrated Gavin Newsom's inner circle, and it was they got this woman to wear a wire on old Gavin Newsom's inner circle. The FBI had a mole inside Governor Gavin Newsom's political orbit before the agency's corruption probe expanded into the governor and his wife. Democrat insider Alexis Podesta, 45 years old, secretly recorded conversations during the criminal probe into Newsom's then chief of staff, Dana Williamson, 53, who pleaded guilty to federal fraud and tax charges in May, according to Williamson's attorney. And so here she is, the rat that wore a wire there on Newsom, Alexis Podesta. The revelation she was wearing a wire as far back as June 2024 explains why a swath of Sacramento political insiders and lobbyists were stunned to receive FBI letters last fall. And they go through the rest of the article of these Governor Gavin Newsom adjacent people who say they never even met her, but they're being swept up in this dragnet of a federal investigation brought about by by her wearing a wire, where they're talking about doing a bunch of corrupt illegal stuff. But what the hell? They're Democrats. It's California. It's their birthright to lie, cheat, and steal from the American people, right? Sure it is. So they just go through here, and so a bunch of people they're looking at, the feds are here now, all in the Gavin Newsom political orbit. FBI infiltrated Gavin Newsom's inner circle. Yep. So we'll follow this investigation as it moves forward here now. And yeah, very under the radar, though. Gavin Newsom's former campaign manager pled guilty to federal corruption charges. That's just how it is. You know, that's what people are just, oh, yeah, well, yeah. Everybody knows they're corrupt. What are you going to do? Well, Podesta, a longtime Democrat power broker, remains on California's state commission or compensation insurance fund board, where she receives annual compensation of nearly $61,000. That's one of these no-show jobs, right, where you just phone it in basically and get what, $61,000 at taxpayers' expense. We wouldn't have it any other way. She also worked with PG&E, Disney, and the late Dianne Feinstein. So Podesta has not been charged with a crime, but her attorney has identified her as the uncharged co-conspirator described in the Williamson indictment and confirmed she has cooperated with federal investigators. So they said, rat, wear a wire, or we're going to hit you with some charges here as well. Williamson pleaded guilty in May, that's Newsom's former campaign manager, to conspiracy to commit bank and wire fraud, filing a false tax return, and making false statements to the FBI. Federal prosecutors allege Williamson and others orchestrated a scheme to siphon roughly $225,000 from a dormant campaign account belonging to former Health and Human Services Secretary Xavier Becerra, who's now the Democrat frontrunner for state of California. Williamson disguised payments as legitimate consulting fees while routing the money to benefit Becerra's former chief of staff, Sean McCluskey. Podesta's attorneys has said she inherited responsibility for overseeing Becerra's dormant campaign account after Williamson left private consulting to become Newsom's chief of staff in late 2022 and did not know the payments were improper. Campaign finance records show Becerra's committee paid Podesta company mostly $10,000 monthly installments during 2023 and 2024. According to court filings, Williamson, while serving as Newsom's chief of staff, shared confidential state government information with a co-conspirator who has since been identified as Podesta regarding a corporate client that reporting has identified as Activision Blizzard. Williamson's plea agreement states that she was captured in a June 2024 wiretap strategizing with the co-conspirator on how to respond to a Public Records Act request involving the state's litigation against the company. Williamson and Podesta exchanged text messages on the issue. According to court records, Podesta has not publicly commented on the matter. A spokesperson for the U.S. Attorney's Office said they charged Williamson and is investigating the governor. So it's ongoing investigation here now. I wonder what else they got on those wiretaps linking up Williamson and Podesta, talking about laundering this campaign money that everybody forgot. Well, apparently it's not that forgotten. And then here's Newsom today. He says, to anyone considering helping President Trump interfere with our election or our count, you will be prosecuted.
Let me speak directly to anyone considering helping President Trump interfere with our election or our count. If you violate California's laws, if you interfere with our voters, tamper with our ballots, or meddle in our election, you will be prosecuted. Doesn't matter who gave the order. That's why I'm moving forward with new legislation that would make it a felony to seize ballots before the vote has been certified by state and county officials. We will be the wall he cannot get past, because we believe that once an election is decided, the winner governs for everyone. That's the architecture of American liberty. Donald Trump, he doesn't believe in that architecture. Let me speak to...
So now it's a battle. Who's more corrupt? The feds under Trump or the state of California under Gavin Newsom? Sad state of affairs we have for American democracy here now, isn't it? Here's a report on Sazan Island. More about this corruption and a bunch of, and I've been doing reports on this, and a bunch of people out there on the internet say they're not only protesting the Kushner corruption there, they're also protesting their own corrupt government. Sazan. Let's watch this report about it, and then we'll take a commercial break. Flamingo revolution going on there.
Sazan is the largest island in Albania. It sits right at the mouth of the Strait of Otranto, which is this narrow strip of water between Italy and Albania. And that strait is the choke point for everything moving between the Mediterranean and the Adriatic. Every ship, every submarine has to pass through it. The CIA has had this island under surveillance since 1959, and those photographs stayed classified for 44 years. This island has never been private, and Ivanka Trump says she found it swimming off a friend's boat. The friend is Nathaniel Rothschild. Nat Rothschild has already run this exact deal once before, just across the Adriatic from Sazan in Montenegro, a former Yugoslav naval base converted into a luxury marina called Porto Montenegro, and then sold it off to Gulf sovereign wealth for 200 million euros. And I want to be specific about what's actually sitting on this island, because land deal makes it sound like there's nothing there. There's actually a bunker network. There are tunnel systems running underneath it. There are concrete mushroom domes built to survive a nuclear strike. This was a hardened military installation. This is not a beach with potential. There's a document in the Epstein files connected to this. Peter Mandelson forwarded a document to Epstein with a note typed at the top. It says, "Interesting, protect." And the context around it ties back to Ehud Barak, who is Epstein's friend, who also happened to be the man Netanyahu ran against and beat, whilst Netanyahu was building out his Balkan Arc plan, which is a strategy laying out Israeli military partnerships, airspace access, and Gulf alliances aimed at Iran, stretching directly into Albania. That plan dates back to 2012. What it describes is being built right now. So follow the actual ownership for a sec, because this is the part nobody's saying clearly. The same people investing in Kushner's fund are the ones holding the deeds to this island. And those same people are key pillars of the Qatari state business complex. So when people call this a real estate deal, what they actually mean is a strategic military island just changed hands into a financial structure connected to Gulf state capital with a paper trail that runs straight through Netanyahu's plan. It's not happening in isolation. There's a NATO drone base at Kukal. There's a naval base under construction. There's a Turkish military facility sitting directly across from Suzanne. And the same Gulf governments that signed onto the Abraham Accords are co-investors in Kushner's deal. 3 days. That's how long it took the Albanian government to strip Suzanne's military classification after Kushner announced the deal. 3 days. And the legislation that did it doesn't just open the island up to development, it lets the company seize private land from Albanian citizens who refuse to sell it. So this was never zoning, this was a permission structure built to order on a 48-hour turnaround. Albanian citizens are in the streets over this right now. They're calling it the Flamingo Revolution. Private security has been attacking protesters. The legislation has not been reversed. This was never a real estate story.
And they're reminding me again on the internet, it's also protests against the corrupt Albanian government, not just for their corrupt dealings here on the Suzanne Island with Kushner and the rest described there, the Qataris and the rest. It's also the Albanian government is thoroughly and utterly corrupt, as every government is here now. Okay, let's take our live commercial break. Shout out to Fat Bob out there. I did get your message. I didn't have time to reply, but he did patron the store and got himself a taxation is theft t-shirt over there. So we do appreciate your patronage, Fat Bob. Thank you very much. And he said it was a very good product. And so I will, I guess I'll take a look. We've had a couple patrons over the last couple of weeks there now that appreciate that shirt. So I guess I will push that shirt more. Everybody go to weaponizednews.com/shop. Get yourself a holograph sticker. I understand we're past the Pride Month, but you can still get all the colors of the rainbow there to show your support for Weaponized News. Get yourself a holograph sticker. We have the white background sticker, the clear sticker. I'm going to have to send some in the mail there, some free stickers to the patrons there as I do an inventory. Weaponizednews.com/shop. Links in the description below this video. We got the stickers, baseball caps, t-shirts, taxation theft with Uncle Sam literally doing an armed robbery on you, because that's the reality of the situation we face here now. Weaponizednews.com/shop. We take donations as well. Buy me a coffee, Bitcoin wallet address, Cash App. All the links in the description below this video. Become a paid subscriber, Weaponized News Substack. We're streaming live there now. You'll get the full show, a summary of the show, and links to almost everything we talk about for documentation, further research purposes. Become a paid subscriber at Weaponized News Substack channel. Help support independent reporting and analysis brought to you 5 days a week. Broadcasting live, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern Time. Weaponizednews.com/shop. Weaponized News Substack. Give me the like, share, subscribe, push that notification button. All that's free. Push that like, share. Subscribe. All of that's free for you. All right. Thank you for your attention to that matter. Our commercial break is over. Welcome back to the second half of Weaponized News on this Monday, July 6, 2026. It is 6/7, as the kids say, right? 6/7 or 7/6. Feels like some type of cult rituals probably going on somewhere. Epstein's estate in upstate New York here now, and New Albany estate has never been searched by the quote authorities. He lived there reportedly from 1992 to 1998. Is a Les Wexner property, but in large part, as we continue to report, Epstein controlled much of Les Wexner's empire there. And so this unassuming brick home, who knows what the horrors are in there. thankfully, it was never investigated by the FBI. Miami Herald, they're still reporting on Epstein. Miami Herald had this report, came out today. Epstein moved millions through mysterious Virgin Islands banks right before arrest. A Miami Herald investigation based on newly released Epstein files. Let's see here. Southern Country International became highly active in the months immediately before and after his July 6, 2019 arrest on federal sex trafficking charges. The bank, which had been largely dormant for years, despite being licensed in 2014, processed over $20 million in transactions from April to early July 2019, followed by an additional $25 million after Epstein's death on August 10th, 2019. The bank was structured as an international banking entity under USVI rules, designated to attract foreign investment with tax incentives, but with minimal oversight and restrictions against serving local clients. Epstein obtained the license with apparent preferential treatment, including waivers and connections to local officials. Many transactions involved transfers between Epstein-controlled entities. Southern Trust Company raised compliance red flags and left significant sums unaccounted for. Investigations into suspicious activity were opened but later closed without public findings, contributing to ongoing questions about Epstein's financial network, potential money laundering, and the handling of his estate. So, big report about the mystery bank there in the U.S. Virgin Islands that looks like Epstein was tipped off that the heat was coming. Well, I'm sure he probably knew the heat was on him, and it's time to move around some money and hide it from the investigators, whatever they may be here now. And it looks like that's exactly what was going on with probes into money laundering there as well. And they go through here and they mention the big banks, Deutsche Bank as well. Big article out of Miami Herald. I'll post a link on Weaponized News Substack for all the more details you want about that. A federal judge ordered the Justice Department to release the unredacted Epstein files July 2nd. Todd Blanche, acting director of the Department of Justice, is refusing to comply with the law. And the most recent ruling on appeal, Judge Emmett Sullivan ruled Blanche conceded the case by never arguing the merits, then denied a delay on a 60-day appeal request. So as we sit right now, law and order, America, nobody's above the law. The Department of Justice is actively covering up the Epstein files. They've doxed victims. Now they're violating the law. They are the criminals. They are the criminals at the Department of Justice, breaking the law, the Epstein Files Transparency Act, and ignoring this judge's order. That's where we're at here in America. The DOJ, nobody's above the law. They do whatever they want and laugh in your face. And if you question too much, men with big guns will be kicking in your door. America, justice, 4th of July, all that bullshit. As the Department of Justice continues the Epstein files cover up. All right, on to some good positive news here. We're getting some action. Before we get to that, ARPA-H, they put out this 250 years, countless scientific breakthroughs. And let's never forget, there's a bunch of breakthrough technologies all over the place that the government seizes puts on a shelf because they may disrupt the corrupt monopolistic status quo. So let's never forget that. We could be, and we actually should be, in a whole different world, but you got the tech bros and the intelligence agencies got to control everything. If not, we would be living in the age of abundance, Jetsons style future. But no, we can't have nice things because these corrupt assholes have to go about their building their scientific dictatorship and going about their eugenics, transhumanist, Malthusian depopulation agenda. But if it wasn't for that, we would have nice things. Here's ARPA H.
For 250 years, America has taken on challenges that others thought were impossible. That same spirit lives on at ARPA H as we accelerate the future of health. ARPA H, delivering health breakthroughs in years, not decades.
Everything's warp speed, hyperscaled. It's all bullshit. You need long-term data to even understand a lot of the science. There's like warp speed, everything, inject it right in your neck. Yeah. It's like, wow. Okay, you're retarded. Some good news here now. The fight against geoengineering has missed the target. Jim Lee of Climate Viewer posts, so we took it to the EPA. A landmark petition for rulemaking is now on the federal record. Here's what it says, why it matters, and what you can do in the next 5 minutes. Let's watch this video from Jim Lee and his crew there that have put this petition for rulemaking on the federal record.
What we want to do is stop the trails. That's what this group is all about. This is the solution that everyone is waiting for.
We want the federal agencies to protect the public health and welfare, which is their job under the Clean Air Act. We're doing this because this is the only legal mechanism we have anywhere in America where we can actually reclaim our skies. We're focused on affecting change, and we affect change by holding authorities accountable for things that we can prove.
If we don't go after the correct source, we're never going to see an end to the streaks in the sky.
This is the legal process to ultimately take the federal government to court and hold their feet to the fire.
They can do something about this. Go to AmericanCleanAirCoalition.org, sign the petition, read the petition that we sent them, download it, email it to your local representatives. Make sure that you make as much noise as you possibly can in the shortest amount of time, because time is short and we are running out of time to make everybody's heads spin around, look up and go, you know what? I can do something about this. It's time for you to do it. Be the change.
Yeah, I understand. I'm highly cynical here, but I think I will be doing this. I've been trying for years and years and years. I went to the Air Resources Control Board here. I will be filling out this petition and sending it to my local joker government and see what happens. We'll at least put it on the record. I went to the Air Resources Control Board. They pulled the fire alarm on me, and the Highway Patrol came. And they finally admitted that they have no jurisdiction and can't do anything about the chemtrail spraying after all of the insanity that they did at their Air Resources Control Board meeting. And so I will be posting all of this, the petition. Here's the petition right here. Petition for rulemaking, aviation aerosol emissions, aviation induced cloudiness, and the endangerment of public health and welfare. So, yeah, I'll post all of this at Weaponized News Substack. Everybody should go take a look at this, making moves against the geoengineers and calling them out and putting it on the record. Putting it on the record here now. And so this is something that we can and should do, and I will be doing it. More on public health here now. No safe fluoride level determined for pregnant women or infants. Fluoride Action Network posts this. At least 18 new North American peer-reviewed studies, reviews, and academic papers have linked fluoride exposure during pregnancy or through formula prepared with fluorinated water at the same concentrations in Windsor's water supply with adverse effects on children's neurodevelopment. The precautionary principle suggests that fluoride should be treated with the same caution applied to alcohol during pregnancy. As long as no safe level has been established, pregnant women and parents or caregivers preparing infant formula should be advised to avoid fluoride exposure altogether. Indeed, filter your water. If you're drinking tap water, especially preparing it for your infants there, don't do it. You need filtered water here now. You need filtered water. Due to the fluoride and there's many different contaminants now in your public drinking water supply. Everybody should take a look at the water report from your water district, and they give you a breakdown of it. You got there's a bunch of radiation in there, chlorine, fluoride, go down the list of toxins. But fluoride, top of the list there as a neurotoxin in the public drinking water supply. Be aware, be aware, be aware. And then they're telling you public health is literally professional wrestling. Again, WWE superstars and Bobby Kennedy Jr. encourage Atlantic City youth to embrace fitness at Boys and Girls Club. HHS posted this. They're literally telling you it's kayfabe, professional wrestling. Biohacker Brian Johnson, and I don't think he's wrong about the air pollution caused by the and other pollution caused by the fireworks show there. But sadly enough, biohacker Brian Johnson reveals shocking health diagnosis about incurable autoimmune disease. Miracles, just saying, they leave miracles out, and miracles are known, right? They're known to cause autoimmune issues, and I'll just leave it at that. But this dude, right? I don't know if you guys seen this guy. He's a biohacker. He's going to live forever. Turns out he has autoimmune gastritis. Very sad. His stomach is eating itself. He's reporting here now. Miracles. Should have maybe laid off some of all that juice. But what about this guy? He was at the steroid Olympics. I remember that, quite ridiculously enough. Everything that made Brian Johnson famous has now he has now quietly stopped. Sama Hole posted on the X. Start with the young blood. That whole thing was creepy. In 2023, he had a liter of his teenage son's plasma pumped into his veins. A 3-generation agreement with the boy at one end and his father at the other end. That was the story that built the legend. The tech millionaire buying youth by the pint from his own child. Then the results came back, no benefit. He dropped it. And most of the people who gasped at the headline never heard the ending. Before the plasma, it was growth hormone taken to regrow his shrinking thalamus stopped once it started raising the pressure inside his skull and pushing his blood sugar up, reversed the Weaponized, the pet drug of every longevity podcast going. I've never even heard of it. It's bullshit. Anyhow, the one he bragged he ran on the most aggressive protocol in the industry, 5 years on it. In 2024, he bented that too. He bend that too, quit doing it, right? Having decided it was doing him more harm than good. Count the pills while you're at it. He was the man who swallowed over 100 supplements a day. He is down to about 30, which is a polite way of saying more than 70 of the things he swore by turned out to be doing nothing worth keeping. This is the man who handed you as the template, the one who ran the experiment so you wouldn't have to. So look at what the experiment keeps returning: a protocol adopted with total public confidence, branded, monetized, sold by subscription, then walked back a year later when his body lodges a complaint. That is a beta test running in public at $2 million a year, not a guide standing on the summit waving you up. Everything on his list today is a candidate for next year's pile of abandoned certainties. There is a way of not dying that survivors contact with time. No plasma, no thymus experiments, no wonder drug you have to walk back, no pharmacy on the kitchen counter. It is roughly what people ate before there was a supplement aisle to panic into, back when they lived long enough to bury the experts who warned them off butter. It will not photograph well, and it cannot sell you and they cannot sell it to you in a monthly box. Yeah. Biohacker. Hey, fast and pray. It's free. That's all we can say here at Weaponized News. Brian Johnson's stomach is now eating itself, and they leave out the miracles, and he was a big miracle guy as well, mRNA, at the beginning of it all, because he trusted the science. It seems he trusted a whole lot of science to the point of his stomach eating itself now, tragically enough. We should take lessons from this tale of biohacking by Brian Johnson. Be careful. And nobody's going to live forever. Sorry to report to you here now. Nobody is going to live forever. I do believe they have life extension technology. That's how a bunch of these evil assholes are living to 100, but not much past that. And stealing of organs as well is going on there. But tragically enough, 48 years old, Brian Johnson, biohacker, stomach eating itself. Here's a bizarre post by old Dolly Parton. Asked Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce for their first born son while flashing devil horns on her hand. It's a bizarre video posted by Dolly Parton. And how old is she? Is this even Dolly Parton? She doesn't look her age, but the wonders of makeup.
Taylor and Travis, it's Dolly, and I was just told that you two are making a donation of $2 million to my imagination library. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm blown away and overjoyed with that gratitude. Now, it's evident that you two have made giving back a key part of your life, so, hey, when you have your firstborn, can I have it? Because that is going to be one special baby. You know, the mission of the Dollywood Foundation is to dream more, care more, learn more, and be more. And thank you again for your very generous gift. And we'll continue that mission, even in bigger ways now with your money. So thank you, and know that I will always love you. Mwah.
Are they going to give their firstborn to the cult? They probably will. It's probably their sacrificial offering. Here's Michael Rappaport, big aardvark, big Zionist, self-admittedly big Zionist, talking about aardvark tunnels in Hollywood.
But the idea that Jews run Hollywood and that it's this sort of sick, you know, there's like this draft system, and there's this secret, and there's tunnels, and there's this codes and all this shit. It's never been proven more than in 2026 right now that that's not the case.
So wait, that there's no tunnel? Wait, you're going off there.
Well, there's tunnels, obviously, but
I got one.
You got to cut that out. You can't say that. I'm admitting that because they talk about the tunnels in
they
Brooklyn.
Did find tunnels in Brooklyn.
Yes, but no one's ever publicly said that there are Jewish tunnels in Hollywood. Yeah. And I would like you to cut that out.
I will cut that out. I'll give you the whole episode. You can prove it.
Okay.
That's on camera.
Okay, cut that out. There's no one's ever said, I'm saying it, and I know you're going to cut it out, that there are Jewish tunnels, exclusively Jewish tunnels in.
We can't talk about it. I'm not going to talk about it.
Well, you've never been in it. So that's the thing. You didn't even know about it, let alone being it.
But you say I can't keep it in.
I'm kidding. Keep it in. That's a good clip.
What's a Jewish tunnel?
What's a Jewish tunnel? What's a Los Angeles Jewish tunnel?
Like it goes right under the cantors? You got a fucking table? Where are we at? What are we talking about?
It starts at Cantors.
What matcha ball?
It starts
midnight now.
It starts at Cantors, and then I mean, this is 2026. So originally, it just started at Cantors.
Yeah, that shit goes all the way to Factors.
Factors, and then we're going right to Paramount.
Yeah,
Warner Brothers. Take your. You know, when there's traffic, you know, you could walk through the Jewish tunnels and skip traffic. But the 405 ain't got shit on the Jewish tunnels.
I love how you claim them as Jewish tunnels.
Not claim them; they are Jewish tunnels.
So what are they used for?
Jews moving things around, carting things around.
So you're saying this is true?
Yes, Jewish tunnels of Los Angeles. This breaking news. The Jewish tunnels of Los Angeles are real. I've been in there. Every Jew has been in there many times.
Say word.
Ask me a Jewish person.
Say word.
I'll tell you if I've seen him in the tunnels. Name a Jewish person.
What's his face?
Name a Jewish Hollywood person.
Ari Emanuel.
Yes, duh.
Wow.
Yeah, duh. There's the Burgess Meredith line. He's got his own fucking line. They named it after he passed. Go on. Paul Newman's got. I mean, I remember I see
Paul Newman, by the way, is Jewish.
In the 90s, I saw Paul Newman down in the Jewish tunnels. The blue eyes are beautiful.
I see what you're trying to say. There is no Jewish tunnels by saying there's Jewish tunnels. I see what you're doing.
No, I'm telling you.
People are gonna run with that.
I'm acknowledging there's Jewish tunnels.
Do you know the term in plain sight? Are you doing it in plain sight?
No, I am telling you that I am acknowledging the Jewish tunnels as a real thing, and I've been in there. How do you? Listen,
what the fuck did they move? Diamonds?
How do you think I got to your house?
I saw you get out of an Uber. That was.
And where do you think the Uber came? Like, you don't think there's ramps
under?
The fuck, man! I'm here.
You're gonna take a look into the tunnels underneath the Getty Museum there in Southern California as well. The best prescription in the world doesn't work if patients can't afford it. They're still pushing these GLP-1 synthetic Gila monster venom Ozempic. That's seems to be Dr. Oz, head of CMS now. Main mission is pushing Ozempic on the American people. I'll save you the video, but here he is again pushing it. They keep pushing it at TrumpRx.gov. The Trump administration approved 3 new, quote, forever chemicals-based pesticides last week for the use on food crops, including corn and soybeans, the most widely grown crops in America, as well as wheat, kiwi, oats, peas, broccoli, and coffee. These new chemicals, I'm going to try to pronounce them here. Diflufenican, epirifenacil, and trifludimoxin. All forever chemicals have been quietly approved without a press release. Trump approved other PFAS-based pesticides, cyclobuttrifluram and isoclisuram earlier this year. And the first food use of chlorminiquat, which is already found in 90% of America's blood. And I'm pretty sure we covered that one. It's, I forget how many more times toxic than glyphosate. So they're like, glyphosate's cool. It's national security. Now we have something even more toxic for you. EPA scientists wrote in the approval documents that at least one of these new PFAS-based pesticides is suggestive evidence of carcinogenic potential. I'd be willing to bet right now, without any science, that they're all carcinogenic. But who cares? It's for your health, and Trump loves you in the golden age. These approvals come just days after the Supreme Court sided with chemical maker IG Farben, Bayer Monsanto, and the Trump administration in limiting America's ability to sue pesticide companies for harms linked to pesticides. And so we do appreciate their cancer-causing efforts out of the WWE, Health and Human Services, run by Bobby Kennedy Jr. and the Trump administration. Continuing here, RFK Jr. admits wearable technology is key to responding to chronic disease epidemics and will mesh with your personal health records.
How does the department see wearable technologies contributing to earlier detection and prevention strategies?
It's a key part of our response. And I'll give you an example. Glucose meters can tell you while you are eating, while you are chewing on the food, what it's doing to your insulin levels, it's causing your glucose to spike. People who wear those glucose meters for even 3 or 4 weeks change their diet. It has a dramatic impact because now they know they can eat certain things. They may be buying a yogurt thinking it's healthy, and they'll see that their glucose spikes. It gives them insight into the healthcare, and it can also mesh with their personal health records. So it can help them now. There are apps that can look at their personal health records, look at the feedback from their wearable, and tell them how to shop. Tell them that item is good for you, this item is not, and then here's some alternatives. We can revolutionize chronic disease prevention in this country.
I agree, sir. Follow up to that. Are there policy barriers Congress should consider addressing to support the responsible adoption of wearable devices?
I mean, the more that Congress can do a lot more than we can. And I would love to work with you on proposals for what Congress could be doing to incentivize the use of
wearables. Yeah, if you're not going to take personal responsibility, the government is, and before long we'll have mandated brain chips at birth. On to the economic section. We got quite a bit to get to. Let me blast through this. China overtakes U.S. in fintech patent filings to seize global lead. So now, hey, no law, no rule. We got to beat China. We got to beat China. We're in a Cold War. So I guess there's 500,000 Americans against the surveillance centers. They all need to be put in these camps, in the FEMA camps, because God forbid China beats us. Chinese banks and tech companies lead the world in applications for financial technology patents over the last decade, surpassing the United States in a field that supports a wide range of financial services, from lending and asset management to cryptocurrencies. Consultancy McKinsey has estimated that the global fintech industry could triple between 2025 and 2032, $2 trillion. Yeah, so take off all the checks and balances, safeguards, and rails in place to protect the consumer, because, oh my gosh, China's taking the lead in global fintech. Some more dark occult worshipping here out of the Trump administration. The re-gliding of the sculpture Valor is complete. The re-gliding of the sculpture Sacrifice is rapidly progressing. After Sacrifice is re-gilding work will begin on the two arts of peace sculptures, each of which is also 19 feet tall, and on top of 12.5 feet tall solid granite pedestals. These 4 sculptures have not been gilded in over half a century. 55 pounds of gold leaf is being used in this effort. The first set of photos below is of completed re-gilding of Valor, while the second set of photos below is the in-progress re-gilding of Sacrifice. You can see right there. And then Kentucky, more Talmudic symbolism from Zion Dawn. They post that in the replies. Howard Lutnick running a giant scam. Now, there's nothing he doesn't see that he doesn't want to rig. And so now, in efforts to rig the World Cup, posted this yesterday, Trump card. And this was a giant scam, a racket. I think they said they had one person. I forget the exact numbers. Nobody's paying $5 million for U.S. citizenship as proposed by Lutnick and Trump here now. It's just another pay for play inside payoff scheme there. But he did post this, and it's in regards to the World Cup. We'll get to that in a second here now. History made for the first time ever. The opening bell rings in the Oval Office. Again, we went over some of the occult, esoteric meaning and symbolism behind this. Another scheme, scam, fraud, Ponzi scheme, TrumpAccounts.gov today. They had a big event at the White House. Trump holds an entire event celebrating the official launch of Trump accounts, a groundbreaking way for every American child to build generational wealth. Yeah, and they put out a bunch of calculations. They don't account for inflation. They don't account for a whole lot. And so in a static environment, I guess their calculations would be accurate, but there's so many unknown variables that for them to make such bold claims, I believe is irresponsible. And they're selling you a load of bullshit. Honestly, they're not being honest in this. But what would we expect? More insider dealings here now with Michael Dell and Susan Dell there. Again, you can see her right here. And she did give a little talk. Just very bizarre woman there, if that's even a woman. I guess it is. Nobody told her still, you look like a psychopath. You know what I mean? Like, tone down the makeup or something. Just like, you ain't right. You know what I mean? You stick out with amongst all these psychopaths. You stick out. Like, very bizarre, but they march forward here now, reveling in the Stepford wife or whatever the hell it is going on there. So they claim here now, the White House claims, start investing in your child's future today, trumpaccounts.gov. Kids born January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2028 get $1,000 free from the government. Again, it's so tiresome reiterating the fact the government creates nothing. Everything they have is stolen from you and I or put on our back debt. The government creates nothing. They steal and extort us and run racketeering operations and put the youth of America into debt by mortgaging their future. So don't be mistaken. I know they revel in the economic illiteracy of America. Don't be mistaken. There's nothing free from the government. They borrowed that money at exorbitant interest rates, adding to the $39+ trillion in national debt. So this is not some great gift. And what the hell? They can't even calculate, because no one can. The best you could do is use the time value of money to calculate what this $1,000 is going to be worth in 18 years when these children become adults. Can it even keep up with the pace of inflation? I highly doubt it. Continuing here, max out contributions now, and your child could have $271,000 by the age of 18, they say here. 100% free to open for all U.S. kids under 18 with a social security number. I guess you should take the money. Don't leave the money on the table, right? But man, they're trying to sucker you in to keep this Ponzi scheme going, propped up by the White House. Invest in Trump accounts today. And we could get in the weeds and explain. I explained the basics here now about why this is total and complete and utter bullshit. Again, nothing ever is free from the government. They mortgage these children's future to give you the free $1,000 today. Here's Dell, Michael Dell. And again, Trump's pumping Dell stock. He bought a bunch of stock. It's inappropriate for the president to pump companies when he's owning them. That's called conflict of interest at the very least. Here's old Susan Dell, bless her heart. You would think, as they're big billionaires, you would think somebody would, I guess they're scared to tell them or something, or they're this disconnected. But lady, you look like a friggin' Stepford wife, robot clone, drone. I don't know. It's just creepy. Here she is stepping to the mic. You'd think somebody would say, tone down the makeup, or I don't know. But your public appearance here now is just not attractive to investors, let's say, at least myself as a potential investor.
Thank you. Susan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am so grateful to you for making the Invest America Act happen. You have made investing in America's children such an important initiative for our country.
They're using it as a tax avoidance scheme and as a money laundering payoff scheme. But let me tell you, they care about the youth of America. What a load of BS. Earlier this year, Trump purchased more than $1 million in Dell stock. I don't know how this can not be a conflict of interest. Trump said today, go out and buy a Dell computer. Here's that clip.
And millions more will be getting additional contributions from generous owners like, as I mentioned, Michael and Susan Dell. They are truly incredible people. Go out and buy a Dell computer. He's not doing it for that.
He's doing it as a tax avoidance scheme and payoffs to the Trump administration. The American dream belongs to every child. And today we're equipping the next generation with the right to claim their rightful share of it. The White House posted 39 trillion plus in debt, bro. SpaceX is gifting shares. SpaceX is gifting 2 million shares to kids' Trump accounts, is what they're telling us here now. Nicki Minaj. This is how you know it's all fake bullshit. They're rolling out the rappers to sell this. The Barb's knows Nicki Minaj, trumpaccounts.gov. She's out there selling. Be part of the Ponzi scheme there. And when Trump says Nicki Minaj is hot. So they're pumping all that. 7 years from now, more or less, the Social Security system will go bust. This isn't enough. There isn't enough coming in from people still working to cover the benefits going to people who are retired. That's Forbes magazine. And then PBS says American Social Security benefits. You love their wording, benefits. We paid in it as our whole working life. How's that a benefit? Anyhow, America's Social Security benefits will have to be cut by roughly a quarter in 6 years due to depleted funds, according to a June 9 report from Social Security Board of Trustees. That's months sooner than the group had estimated just last year. The timeline, we're on negative, right? So it's getting shorter here now when your money's running out. And then we had this reminder from Alan Greenspan when asked about funding Social Security. All-time classic here.
And we can guarantee cash benefits as far out and at whatever size you like, but we cannot guarantee their purchasing power.
Here's $1 billion, a la Zimbabwe, a la every other country that's gone through financial collapse, hyperinflation. Yeah, we can print till infinity and beyond, but it's not going to be worth anything, you see. You can have $1 trillion note from Zimbabwe that literally can't buy jack because they've debased the currency so badly. That's where we're heading. That's where we're heading here. And the bankers know it. And you just saw Greenspan. Yeah. You can print unlimited. Not be worth nothing, but ha-ha. Ha-ha. Americans are experiencing a shortage in fun as rising prices, longer lines, and limited access keep them from the activities that bring them joy. Report out of Bloomberg. Headline said, roughly 5,000 people made almost $4 billion off Trump meme coin crypto scheme. At the same time, almost 1 million Trump Bitcoin buyers lost about $3.8 billion. Like the rest of the Trump economy, a few people made massive profits, while the vast majority got rug pulled, essentially. Indeed. More on Trump. Your tax dollars are funding Trump's July 4th spectacle while his cronies cash in on no-bid contracts. Let's watch this report about that. So all this patriotism, America, wave your flag. On the back end, they're profiteering off of America's idiocy. And so we wouldn't have it any other way with Howard Lutnick as the sitting Commerce Secretary.
Donald Trump talks a big game about eliminating wasteful government spending.
Will be ending the flagrant waste of taxpayer dollars.
But in reality, the Trump administration is constantly lighting public money on fire, especially in the lead up to the country's 250th birthday. Take the recent Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool drama. Trump has spent over $16 million to paint the pool American flag blue, and failed. This was an unnecessary expense to begin with, and it was bungled from the outset, starting with the fact that Trump didn't take competitive bids to find the best firm with the best plan for the most reasonable price. Instead, he handpicked two companies, one that had worked on pools at his private Virginia golf courses, and one co-owned by a Trump donor and neighbor of his Mar-a-Lago estate, who's been convicted of 2 felonies related to political corruption.
And this freaking guy is literally out of comic book Dick Tracy cartoon villain. It's just, you can't make this up, right? It's that absurd.
The job was botched and the pool turned algae green. It will stay that way through July 4th and then be emptied to start again, sending that money, your money, literally down the drain. There are plenty more wasteful vanity projects and sweetheart deals where that came from. For example, Trump swore that the luxury ballroom he's building at the White House will be funded by private donors, but he found a loophole. The fact that he's also building a bunker beneath it justifies using public security money. He started out saying that the project would cost $200 million and use 0 taxpayer money. Instead, it's now projected to cost $600 million, and over $350 million in taxpayer money has already been paid to the private contractor. And then the Trump administration gave the same multi-billion-dollar construction firm a contract to renovate 2 fountains. It was another no-bid contract, which Trump rationalized by citing urgency leading up to July 4th. The Biden administration had estimated the fountain job would cost only $3 million, but for some reason it cost over $17 million under Trump. With America's 250th birthday celebration coming up, the no-bid contracts are getting out of control and looking like mismanagement of public funds at best and corrupt favoritism at worst. Either way, we're footing the bill. In another example, the Trump admin signed a no-bid contract to gold plate 2 horse statues in time for America's 250th. The price doubled along the way, ultimately costing over $5 million. But the most favored of Trump's pet contractors is Event Strategies, Inc. The company has staged everything from Trump's 2015 campaign kickoff to the January 6th rally where he urged supporters to march on the Capitol. And, of course, they're running point on Trump's America 250 programming. In Trump's second term alone, Event Strategies, Inc. has received an estimated $22 million in federal contracts, with $13 million in the form of no-bid contracts that appear to have been written specifically for them. That really captures what Trump's 250th Independence Day celebration, and really his whole presidency, is all about: pursuing personal gratification and self-flattery at any cost, and hoovering public money into his own inner circle with no consideration for the rest of us.
Don't be a panicking. We love corruption here in America, especially if it's Trump corruption. Don't be a commie. SpaceX will officially join the NASDAQ 100 tomorrow, following a fast-tracked index inclusion, according to Bloomberg. The Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, remember we're going to get those DOGE checks? It's officially shut down after completing its mission, according to the War Channel Fox News. It was essentially to go put in Palantir Foundry operating system, further profile track, and target Americans and to go ahead and give Elon Musk unprecedented access to Americans' data, all for free. And so the biggest data heist in history under the guise of government efficiency. Their Doge is no longer. JP Morgan Chase says investors should buy the recent dip in semiconductor stocks. Treasury has an internal, the U.S. Treasury Department has an internal report warning about the dangers of an AI bubble. Publicly, the Trump administration is bullish about AI. Privately, some of its analysts are weighing AI against the dot-com bust. So they're literally out there saying, buy Trump, the stock market's the greatest ever, go ahead. Meanwhile, the actual economists behind the scenes are warning of an AI bubble at the U.S. Treasury Department. Just don't be a panicking. What are you, a commie? A draft report inside the Treasury Department is set to warn of the risks posed by the artificial intelligence market, likening key aspects of it to the dot-com bubble that upended the U.S. economy when it burst in the early 2000s. We'll keep a lookout for the actual report. The document, the existence and contents of which have not been previously reported but was obtained by notice, is a significant departure from the Trump administration's public tone, which has focused on encouraging unrelenting investment to unlock exponential growth. Everything's urgent. Everything's now. And it's all just complete and utter bullshit. They're creating the crisis and pumping all of these bubbles. Career Treasury analysts found that AI firms are more deeply entrenched in the U.S. economy than their dot-com predecessors and pose significant risk to the entire system if financial conditions change, productivity goals are missed, or various choke points stymie growth. A downturn in the AI market would send shockwaves through the entire economic ecosystem. The Treasury analyst wrote, the report concluded that the AI bubbles popping would lead to less of an immediate crash than the U.S. economy experienced with dot-com crash in the early 2000s, but analysts predicted that companies would cut back, investors would lose confidence, and the economy would grow more slowly should the industry falter. Stock markets, private credit markets, companies financing data center build outs, cloud providers, chip manufacturers, and utilities would all feel the effect. And so, get ready to have a giant bailout, too big to fail, too big to jail, of these AI companies. The official position of the secretary and the U.S. Treasury is that artificial intelligence will be a key driver of America's new golden age. AI has the potential to deliver unprecedented productivity gains, expand economic opportunity, and empower American workers and businesses. So it's wonderful that we have institutional pumping up of this Ponzi scheme known as the AI bubble. We do appreciate the efforts of fleecing the American people. And now, I hate illegals just as much as the next guy, but they're trying to blame illegals here now. Biden era illegal immigration drove up housing costs. Fed economists find it's quite tragic. But hey, we got to scapegoat somebody, never the Fed or the bank, so we'll scapegoat illegal aliens here. You can see the War Channel, Fox News. And then reminder, Federal Reserve blaming illegal aliens for high housing prices, not the Fed's massive ZIRP, quantitative easing, and almost $3 trillion in Fed MBS purchases. It has nothing to do with that. It's these damn illegals. It's these damn illegals, I'm telling you. Black hole of fraud, money laundering at NASA. The NASA tells us the Chinese will land their, how do you say it, iconauts on the moon. There's no question. I got serious questions about it. The question is, will the United States return before them? I think the answer is yes. And head dude at NASA there. Sure, buddy. Sure. So we're in a space race, Cold War. And while we need to pour $10 billion plus into Artemis 3 moon missions coming up next year. Microsoft fires 4,800 employees in AI-driven layoff. In a memo, Chief People Officer Amy Coleman said, I also want to direct that the roles eliminated today are not being replaced by AI. At the same time, what is true is that AI is changing how work gets done at Microsoft. Plans for what would be the world's largest data center have been scrapped after Blackstone-owned QTS dropped its appeal to Virginia Supreme Court. Again, 500,000 Americans are now organizing against data centers, i.e. surveillance centers. Annualized returns of legendary investors. Trump tops them all because he's rigging the markets using the chief executive bully pulpit to do so. And so who knew Trump is more of a genius investor than Warren Buffett, Charles Munger, Peter Lynch, or Ben Graham? Annualized return of legendary investors. Warren Buffett, 29.5. Charles Munger, 19.8. Peter Lynch, 29.2. Ben Graham, 20. Oh, Donald Trump, 45% return on investment. Nothing's rigged. He's just a genius, or it's his people. He doesn't even look at the trades he's told us now. Truly amazing. Truly amazing. Let's see. Can we get through this? Trump posted great news. I have just been informed that one of the biggest, best, and smartest retailers in America, Walmart, will be lowering prices by a lot at my administration's request to celebrate our great country's 250th birthday. Walmart will, in particular, be dropping the price for a pound of ground beef by almost 15%, among many other products. This is a huge deal for the many millions of Americans who smartly shop at Walmart. Everybody knows in America that's where food comes from, is Walmart, which is a truly patriotic company who loves the United States. What? That's what Trump posted. My administration is lowering prices that Joe Biden incompetently raised with the worst inflation crisis in history, Operation Warp Speed. Trump signed off on the bat bailouts, but yeah, we just blame Biden and illegal aliens. A disaster, along with the southern border, the botched withdrawal from Afghanistan, and many other failures. Just as I promised, oil prices are plummeting fast. They're not, but okay, dude. And gas prices at the pump are dropping too, just like egg and prescription drug prices, which I am bringing down by historic levels. It's literally oligopolies colluding in monopoly capitalism to fix the prices. Walmart is stepping up in a big and bold way, and other retailers should follow the lead of these absolute patriots. Yeah, they went in and took out all mom and pops, undercut the price, cheering America, made in America, then turned around and used foreign-made Chinese goods to undermine the American economy. And so we do appreciate those efforts by Walmart to take out Main Street retailers here in America. Very patriotic of their efforts to consolidate the economy in a vertical integration manner. More from Trump today.
A lot of you Wall Street guys, I see Larry and I see some of the biggest guys at Wall Street, David, Goldman Sachs, Blackstone, BlackRock, they're all here. And think of it, I'm making them all geniuses. Every one of them's a genius. Is anybody doing poorly? I guess you have a couple of guys that went short. Those poor bastards, I mean, they're in big trouble. They're being wiped out.
They're literally rigging everything. They're real geniuses. Yeah, you guys rigged everything. They're rigging the World Cup. Now, there's nothing they won't rig. You guys know the sports ball's rigged, right? We keep covering it here. Trump's red card call stirs political storm around World Cup. Inside Lutnick's back channel with FIFA, Politico reported yesterday. I guess let's go to what they're actually complaining about, and then we'll come back to it. If we do have the video of it. Trump, I didn't know what the hell a red card was. When I found out, I say, you got to be kidding me. Let's watch this, and you can see the video of the controversial soccer incident here now.
But all I did, I asked for a review because I didn't think it was a foul. And, again, I'm good at this stuff. I didn't think it was a foul. I thought it was two great athletes that crashed into each other and got entangled. That was not a guy punching somebody in the face or anything that, would be different. And I think it's a terrible, if they wouldn't allow, a top player, maybe the best, maybe among the best players on the team to play, I think it would have had a big stain. And I related just that feel. I didn't tell him what to do. I can't tell him what to do. But and I don't believe he made the decision. I think it was a committee that made the decision. And they made the right decision because, number one, it wasn't a foul. And you want to see a game with your best players. You don't want to say, how would you feel if I took, we take Messi out? Look, he ran into somebody. Or we took Ronaldo. Ronaldo, he bumped into.
They're rigging it. Maybe it was a foul. Maybe it wasn't. The president has to get involved. Howard Lutnick. Yeah, because they're rigging it. They're rigging it. Inside Lutnick's back channel with FIFA brass, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick was involved in behind-the-scenes conversations with FIFA to get U.S. striker Folarin Balogun to get his red card ban suspended, according to two people familiar with the matter, granted anonymity to discuss private deliberations. Lutnick has developed close ties with the leadership of soccer's governing body. He attended a previously unreported dinner in early June with FIFA president Infantino, senior advisor Carlos Cordino, and a small group of roughly half a dozen attendees. According to two people, the dinner underscores the unusually close relationship FIFA has cultivated with the Trump administration. Lutnick, in particular, has developed a personal rapport with Infantino hosting the FIFA president in his Commerce Department office and sitting beside him at the match between the United States and Bosnia last week. And here they are. Are they blackmailing dude? Do they have Epstein blackmail on dude? I don't know. Some people are floating that idea. May very well be. I think FIFA is pretty well known worldwide as being a corrupt organization. Here they are together. And so why are you hanging out with Epstein Island buddy here? FIFA man. You know what I mean? Because it's rigged. And then Howard Lutnick posts this, the Trump card, before. And now it's still going on. There's fighting back and forth. The White House made direct call to FIFA Infantino to review the red card. We showed you the video with Trump talking about it, the red card incident. And so now it's back and forth. I believe the game's going on right now, America. But yeah, it's ongoing. Let's see here. FIFA president Infantino said he told Trump that U.S. striker Balogun's red card case would be handled by FIFA's independent judicial bodies, not by political intervention. There was no ongoing legal process involving FIFA's independent judicial bodies, he added. Wink, wink. This is how FIFA system works, and it is a principle that I will always uphold. And of course, they were selling World Cup, as we covered here, with the World Cup trophy through the White House. No rigging going on there whatsoever, I'm sure. Who are we playing? America's playing, we're playing Belgium right now, I believe. And so here Trump laughs, making jokes about it. They tell you they're rigging it.
If we want, no matter what happened, you have to let them use their best players. And the game tonight's going to be amazing. And we're going to have a full team. And Belgium's going to have a full team. And you know what? If they beat us, then they can be really proud. The other way, if they beat us, we'll say I say it was rigged, just like the election was rigged in 2020. But I won't get into that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. If we won,
there you go. If my guy wins, it's okay. If my guy loses, it's rigged. Same routine of complete and utter bullshit. It's all rigged here now. Where are we at with U.S.? Is it U.S. Belgium? I believe it is. See, red, white, and blue blew it. Yeah, we lost to Belgium there. So we deserve it for the cheating. They probably rigged it and bet against America for Belgium. It's still ongoing down, full. I don't even know the soccer terminology. F soccer, F the World Cup, F Trump, all these corrupt assholes, F them all. Trying to sell me a bunch of bullshit. But yeah, it looks like America lost here now to Belgium 4-1. As that's the score now. I guess they're still playing. So they probably bet for Belgium. Wouldn't surprise me. The White House uses brain rot to advertise no tax on tips. They posted this nonsense out of the White House earlier today. Again, taxation's theft. Everything the government claims to give you, it stole from someone else. And this is that's literally all the Republicans have to run on, is where the other guys are commies. They claim the Democrat socialists because they controlling all three branches of government, essentially here now. Both houses of Congress, the executive, and the Supreme Court don't tax your tips, and that's temporary, maybe. What a bang-up job they're doing on the economy. And the gas prices are still very high. According to AAA's national average for the price of a gallon of gasoline here on July 6, 2026, I guess we've gone below the $4 a gallon threshold, but still very high on average across America here, $3.80. And so essentially unchanged from yesterday. I guess it went down 6 cents from last week on average. So that's better than a month ago when it's well above $4. You can see it right there. It is going down slowly here now. But make no mistake, Rockefeller oil oligarchs are price gouging the hell out of us here. Saudi Arabia cut the August price of its flagship Arab light crude to Asia by $11 a barrel, marking its largest reduction in at least 26 years, according to a report out of Reuters. They're trying to get fuel, commerce, goods flowing through the Strait of Hormuz here now. Let's see. Do we have anything else? Let's see. I guess we'll sort out more tomorrow, but it looks like America went ahead and lost to Belgium there in the World Cup. Largest convoy yet, carrying 12 million barrels of crude, begins exiting Strait of Hormuz. A fleet of 10 Japanese-linked commercial vessels began transiting the Strait of Hormuz earlier today through the Iranian-approved shipping corridor, marking the largest coordinated movement of ships trapped since the U.S. began its war against Iran on February 28th earlier this year. According to shipping data monitored by LSEG and Bloomberg, the convoy includes 6 VLCC crude tankers carrying roughly 12 million barrels of oil, along with 2 chemical tankers, a vehicle carrier, and a container ship. Most are operated by Japan's Mitsui OSK lines. The crude was loaded in late February and early March from Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Qatar, but the ships remained stranded for around 100 days after the Strait of Hormuz was effectively closed because we won the war against Iran, right? Sure we did. Several tankers abandoned the U.S.-backed Omani transit corridor over the weekend after Iran tightened restrictions there, instead coordinating passage through Iran's Persian Gulf Strait Authority. The transit would mark a significant step toward clearing the backlog of commercial shipping and comes after weeks of Japanese diplomacy with Iran. Good job, America. Iran cut a deal, art of the deal. They're figuring out a way to make commerce flow through there. No thanks to Trump administration. There's a big NATO meeting going on right now. I was looking a little bit, see if there's anything. We'll do it. We'll follow up tomorrow on the big NATO meeting. 32 world leaders, Trump, Erdogan, not there yet, obviously, Zelensky, and the future of the alliance all in one summit. From the push for 5% defense spending and major arms deals to Ukraine, F-35 discussions, and the future of U.S.-European relations. So it's going on right now, actually big NATO summit. And we'll cover more details of that tomorrow. Cuba's national power grid collapsed, leaving about 10 million Cubans without electricity. Vague details there. We'll follow up on that. Tragically enough, the death toll And missing persons from the Venezuela earthquake are still adding up here now. The death toll in Venezuela from the two major earthquakes that hit them last week, right? 3,342 dead Venezuelans, 16,740 injured. The Venezuela's Communication and Information Ministry said yesterday. And so, wow. They're still digging people out, trying to figure out what happened, how many kids got stolen, and so on, as the human traffickers take full advantage of every natural disaster where youth may be left vulnerable to being kidnapped and trafficked, as we continue to report here now. Clinton Foundation, street gangs, and go down the list. I'm sure many working together in the pipeline of child trafficking. Tragically enough, we'll keep reporting on the Venezuelan earthquake disaster as details become available. So he is a cool Mac daddy there with his teacher that did, I'm sure, horrific abuse to him as a youth in France. Macron is wearing his aviators again today out in public, meeting up with a former Al-Qaeda, ISIS top terrorist, now president of Syria, al-Shara. And so for the first time first time under the new al-Shara regime, President of France, Macron, visited Damascus. Here he is. And he has explained his cool daddy look as a eye problem. So I guess we'll give that to him. He's not just trying to look like Joe Cool. He actually has some eye issues. And that's why old Macron, the Sun King, is wearing his aviators there.
Visite historique. Ça fait 17 ans qu'un président français ne s'était pas rendu dans la capitale syrienne, accompagné d'une...
Indoors, they say, well, he has eye problems. Well, maybe if you take all the miracles, that's one of the side effects. But who knows with these people, honestly, at this point. Here's Trump on Ukraine war, and they're going hot and heavy right now with Ukraine launching long-range attacks well into Russia, targeting their petroleum infrastructure. We'll get to that. Here's Trump earlier today on Ukraine-Russia war.
Michael, who would have thought that drones would have become such a factor? And they're killing machines. It's amazing. It's amazing. You hide behind a tree and it goes and gets you. And I've seen scenes that I don't want to see. I don't want you to see them on that battlefield. You know, you hear about the Civil War, you hear about all of these different terrible wars, but this is really horrible. So I had a very good call, and I think we're getting close to getting it done.
He's talking about a call with Putin. Really? Said if you elect him in 24 hours, the war will be over. Was this posted today, July 6th? July 6th. Over 7 minutes of footage of a Russia retaliation attack against Ukraine, Kiev. It's just like ongoing. There's 7.5 minutes. I'll show you a little bit of it, but it's ongoing. They had their own fireworks there in Ukraine and Russia, literally bombing the hell out of each other. And so it just goes on. It goes on here for 7.5 minutes. Obviously, I'm not going to show the whole thing. I'll post the full video on Weaponized News Substack. But ongoing attacks by Russia. Again, retaliation here. Zelensky to the Financial Times. He says, without nuclear weapons, you are no longer part of the club that others fear attacking. Instead, you become part of the club that can be attacked. Yeah, kind of looks that way. Or you just fight a proxy war using your puppets, a la U.S. Ukraine Zelensky. Zelensky said Ukraine's expanding long-range drone campaign is designed to bring the war closer to Russia's leadership, arguing that sustained strikes on Moscow would force Putin to feel it personally. Once he begins to feel it personally, you will see advisors urging him to relocate somewhere beyond the Urals. Zelensky concluded, the farther Putin is from Moscow, the closer the end of the war will be. That was in an interview he did with the Financial Times. Ukraine confirms total failure to intercept Russian ballistic missile barrage. Ukrainian air defenses failed to intercept any of the 29 Russian ballistic missiles launched overnight as Kiev faces a critical shortage of U.S.-made Patriot interceptors. That was a report out of the Clash report. Yeah, they bombed the hell out of them. In retaliation to this, Ukraine hits Russia's largest oil refinery. Ukraine forces hit the Omsk oil refinery 2,700 kilometers from the border, damaging critical units at Russia's largest fuel facility. Russia's effing pissed, okay? Omsk is Russia's largest oil refinery, processing 21 to 22 million tons of oil per year. Now it's on fire. Here's a still image of that. Yeah, we showed the attacks on their petroleum manufacturing facilities and blowing the hell out of them. Blowing the hell out of them. Russian media reported that a Ukrainian missile strike hit energy infrastructure in Belgorod, Russia, causing power outages in part of the city. And there's video of it, but you get it, right? Department of War meme of the day. Here now, the Department of War defense patent holiday is entering its new phase, designed to transition intellectual property from defense labs to private sector innovators. The program provides companies with no-fee commercial evaluation licenses, cells, to assess technologies with zero upfront costs. To help industry partners capitalize on this opportunity, Next Flex US is hosting the Defense Patent Holiday Microelectronics Industry Day on July 14th and 15th this month, in a week about, right? Which can be attended in person in San Jose, California, or virtually. We'll cover the details of that here for you at Weaponized News. Attendees will learn how to access these federally developed patents, explore small business support programs, and tour the Next Flex Advanced Manufacturing Facility. Meme of the day here, as we're taking a whole of society and whole of government approach into the wartime economy now. Microelectronics and hybrid electronics defense patent holiday, as everything is warp speeded now. Nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care. Antiwar.com reports U.S. launches 71st airstrike this year on Somalia, not in Minnesota. There's a country allegedly sovereign called Somalia in Africa, and we just can't get enough of bombing the hell out of them. And so 71 airstrikes on Somalia this year. U.S. AFRICOM has reported we can't get enough of bombing the hell out of Somalia. Of course, targeting those pesky ISIS terrorists there. 71 Nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care. Nobody would even, antiwar.com is the only one that even reports on it. And then I report on their report to you, and nobody cares. Where's the Congress on all of these bombing campaigns? No big deal. The Financial Times reports that the funeral ceremonies for Iran's late supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khomeini, are expected to draw 12 million to 15 million attendees over the next several days, potentially rivaling the largest funeral gathering in modern history. I thought they were unpopular, religious fanatical mullah maniacs that everybody hated there. That's what Trump told us. Yep, turns out not so much. They have a very large following there in Iran. The current benchmark recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records is the funeral of Indian Chief Minister C.N. Anna Durrani in 1969, which drew an estimated 15 million mourners. An estimated 10 to 12 million attended Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini's funeral in 1989. Well, these Financial Times are a bunch of damn terrorists, I tell you. Iranians wave flags of vengeance during Khomeini's funeral procession. Yeah, they're kind of pissed off. We should be concerned here now. Iran has commenced the multi-city funeral procession for Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khomeini. The rites follow the February 28th U.S. Aardvark land strikes that killed Khomeini and several members of his family, including his daughter, son-in-law, daughter-in-law, and infant granddaughter. During the procession, mourners unfurled red flags inscribed with Ya Latrat al-Husseini, translated in English, "O you who avenge the blood of Hussein." The banners commemorate the martyrdom of Husseini ibn Ali at the Battle of Karbala. In Shia tradition, the red flag is not a mere decorative element. It signifies blood that has been unjustly shed and serves as an open public mandate for justice that remains unfulfilled. For the people of Iran, the red flag is not merely a symbol of grief, it is a sacred declaration of an unfulfilled debt. While the West may view the funeral through the lenses of geopolitics, for millions gathered in the streets, these banners represent an unbreakable covenant with their leader. The flag serves as a public mandate. The blood of Ali Khomeini and his family will not be forgotten, and justice is not a matter of if, but when. In the heart of the Islamic Republic, the red flag remains the ultimate signal that the path of resistance remains the path of the people. And that's a report out of the Cradle, and it's these red flags, right? Add them everywhere. They're kind of pissed off. Here's another shot. You could see all the red flags there. Yeah, they're kind of pissed off. There's the casket of Supreme Leader Khomeini. Over 10 million Iranians. There's more videos, I'm pretty sure. And people are saying, no, that's AI. Everybody hates dude. Really? There's multiple videos, multiple different angles, multiple different agencies. There's a lot of freaking Iranians there waving the red flags, all pissed off. Sorry to report to you here, America. We need to be aware of this. We'll play this one. A massive sea totaling millions of mourners flooded the streets of Tehran. But wait a minute. We were told that everybody hates these guys and we're going to overthrow them with a color revolution with Mossad boots on the ground and other Western intelligence. Huh?
من از فراز آسمان تهران برای شما گزارش می‌کنم. آنچه که از این بالا می‌توان مشاهده کرد حضور بی‌نظیر مردم در بدرقه پیکر مطهره.
Yep, they'll hate them. This thing ain't over with Iran, all right? Former Iranian president Ahmadinejad. Remember this dude? He's famous for calling out all the conspiracies that we keep seeing. Well, yeah, it turns out it's pretty accurate. At the United Nations, he said they were controlling the weather. Then Iran blew up the radars and other weather manipulation equipment there in the region. And turns out, oh, they've had a bountiful precipitation since, and on and on. But he was there, of course, afraid of the people, marching there with the people. And then old Argachai, Iranian foreign minister, down there as well in the crowd, mourning the supreme leader's loss. To the Iranians, Aardvark Land War head, Department of War, Aardvark Katz, issued new threats against Iranian leadership during the Khomeini funeral. And so they continue to provocateur, and then they'll be the victims, right? Aardvark War Minister Aardvark Katz has vowed to eliminate any future Iranian leader who seeks to challenge the existence of Aardvark land. Speaking as millions gathered in Tehran to mourn the late supreme leader, Ali Khomeini, who was killed in a joint U.S. Aardvark land strike on February 28th, Katz declared that the ongoing campaign has successfully neutralized immediate threats to Aardvark land. Katz asserted that the coordinated strikes have caused profound damage to Iran's strategic capabilities. He framed the recent military actions as a decisive victory that has significantly diminished the potential for external aggression against the Aardvark state. These threats come at a moment of heightened national mourning in Iran. Iranian citizens have filled the streets to pay their final respects to Khomeini, signaling a period of transition for the Islamic Republic following the targeted assassination of its top political and religious authorities. That was the Cradle report. Here is some video out of Tehran. Protesters there with banners featuring crosshairs over the faces of Laura Loomer, Trump, Ben Shapiro, Miriam Adelson, Lindsey Graham, and others. I think they threw Peter Thiel in there as well. They seem well aware of technocracy in Iran.
We have some targets here for you. Do you have proof?
There's old Peter Thiel.
Oh, this one. We have some targets here for you.
Graphic protests there out of Iran. they're continuing the carpet bombing campaign in Lebanon all over the weekend. It's ongoing. They're bombing it right now. Airborne strikes across Gaza today have resulted in multiple casualties. Excuse me, that's Gaza, but we'll get to the and more Gaza reporting. Same thing. Ongoing airstrikes against Gaza and southern Lebanon. An airstrike on a vehicle killed a couple, injured 15 others. Separate strike, injured another 16. It's ongoing. In Gaza City, an early morning Aardvarkland attack on an apartment killed another dude and his wife, injuring another. Aardvark drones attack fishing boat near the Al-Shati refugee camp, injuring another 3 Palestinian fishermen. And a bunch of still photos, and I do believe we have a couple of video reports. This is southern Lebanon now. You could see the smoke coming up there. They're leveling the joint. Heavy artillery shelling being reported there in southern Lebanon. Here's you can see off there in the distance. Yeah, they're leveling the joint. Ongoing here now. Continuing, where's this? Southern Hadatha. Southern Lebanon. Not a very good video, but you get the point. I mean, that was like a minute and it's cut of tanks rolling in and leveling the joint. Let's see here. Drone attacks. Where was this one? Aardvark drone carried out attack in southern Lebanese village earlier today, coinciding with intermittent gunfire and artillery shelling in the area. This was in Bar at Chit. You can see here. Another one, Aardvark demolition operations in Kunain, southern Lebanon, as occupation forces continue to target residential homes. They've already ethnically cleansed over 1 million Lebanese out of the region. 3 killed in Aardvarkland drone strikes that target a vehicle in Al-Fawqa, southern Lebanon. It's all in the last 24 hours. They targeted this woman, killed her. Esperanza Gadur, the principal of a school. She's been identified as one of the 4 dead there in Al-Fawqa. Drone strikes earlier today. Her. Here's some more reporting on that from her cousin. Gina Gondor on the X posted, "My beautiful cousin's daughter has been martyred. My childhood friend has been martyred. Aardvarkland killed her along with her mother with a treacherous missile."
شيء كتير بيقهر توصلي على نبطيه ومش قادره. هيدا بيتك وهيدي ارضك وهيدي حياتك وهيدي هون جدودك هون جدودك اندفنوا. هيدي ارضك انت، واخر الشيء بيقولوا لك لا ما تروحي. ومنكم انتوا يا شياطين على الارض، منكم انتوا. شيء كتير بيفقع، شيء كتير بيقهر، كتير مش شوي، كتير. واحد خلص بيروح بيروح ما بياخد شيء معه الا بس هي الاعمال النظيفه. عشان هيك الواحد يمكن هالشيء لربنا نحن نقرب من رب العالمين اكثر، بس هو الله اللي بدنا نتعلم.
Tragically enough, her memorial video posted by her cousin, for whacked for the crime of teaching children extreme terrorist activity. And man, here's the list. It's just ongoing bombing campaigns from Courtney Banu. They're on the ground, and you can see I'm not even going to attempt to read all these, but bombings you can see all here. Sound bombs, drone attacks, artillery shelling, sweeping operations. That's what's going on. That's what's going on in southern Lebanon. And I do believe we have a report from her on the ground. Courtney Banu there. She needs to watch out. Watch her six, as they say, because I believe she's definitely on a targeted kill list for her reporting.
I'm reporting to you from the entrance of the town of Hadatha, which was recently added to the illegal Israeli occupation zone here in southern Lebanon. I actually had to get permission from the Mechanism Committee to do this report, so we've been waiting here for about an hour. So, like I said, the town of Hadatha has been added to this illegal occupation zone. Israeli officials announced that they were imposing operations on the town and claimed that they had destroyed 90 targets belonging to Hezbollah. All I've witnessed them do is demolish civilian infrastructure and civilian homes like they're doing in the rest of the region. Army personnel here just reported to me that they recently entered the town to try to retrieve 10 bodies, and when they did, the Israeli army opened fire on them. This is what it's like to live under occupation. I just received a report about an Israeli drone strike in the town of Nabatea al-Fauqa that killed 4 people. That's the initial death toll, is 4 people, including the director of kindergartens in the area of Nabatea. She was traveling in the vehicle. This attack in Nabatea is in addition to multiple attacks also in Nabatea and in the Hula and Mais al-Jabal area overnight. And I don't know if you can hear the drones, but we have 2 large drones circling above us now. We also have a quadcopter. We also heard machine gun combing about 15 minutes ago, and they're also doing home demolitions over the hill in Kunin and Bint Jbeil. The Israeli army has made it clear that they're not going to withdraw from southern Lebanon, and they continue to add new towns to their illegal occupation zone. Israel is continuing to violate the ceasefire agreement that was recently put into effect and commit acts of genocide using American tax dollars.
What's that over there? Oh, there's demolishing civilian homes. Aviation demands Beirut bar unacceptable Lebanese army officers from deploying south. Aviation state broadcaster CAN reported earlier today that Tel Aviv, has handed Lebanese authorities a list containing the names of several senior officers in the Lebanese armed forces whose deployment in southern Lebanon it rejects. So I'm glad I'm sure the Lebanese are glad as well that Aviation's directing their Lebanese army deployments. You can't make this stuff up, but that's what's going on there. Building out the greater Aviation project. More reports of the attacks in the quote buffer zone. And you can see they're well into Lebanon. Now with Aviation reconnaissance drones reported right over Beirut and the rest of this areas in the middle of Lebanon. I'm sure they need a security zone there as well. These are war crimes. This is unconscionable. This cannot be allowed to stand. We're losing our humanity when we are indifferent to this. At least 6 more Palestinians were killed and over 20 wounded in multiple strikes across the Gaza Strip. Let's hear Representative Jim McGovern blast the Trump administration and lawmakers in Congress for failing to ensure Palestinians in Gaza have access to basic life essentials. But the humanitarian, I forget even their name now, Gaza Foundation is saving everybody. Remember that? It was literal U.S. mercenaries baiting starving children to come get some clean drinking water and shooting them in the face. It's perfectly fine. Let's watch a little bit of this interview on Al Jazeera with Jim McGovern.
Human rights that you've pushed on, Jim, and you've mentioned Gaza, is you wrote a letter, co-authored, you led on the letter with Madeline Dean and Maxine Dexter, 2 members of Congress, but also Senator Ed Markey and Senator Chris Van Hollen, asking an entire set of questions around the medical needs of Gazans who have been displaced, that are waiting to try to get to get access to medical support and really human rights support in Gaza. You write a detailed letter asking, how we can rebuild and protect hospitals, what we can do to sort of reestablish a medical corridor. And this letter also asked for response to a previous letter. This was sent to Secretary of State Marco Rubio on June 11th. Have you had any response to this letter? What's been your engagement with the administration on these human rights issues? Because I ask this not just because of the content and substance of this, but it seems like part of the 30 challenges that the DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America, have brought to various incumbents that they're running for right now in office in the United States, is this issue is deeply core for them, trying to get a focus on Gaza and undo some of the kind of inertia that's been tied up in the U.S.-Israel position for quite a while now.
Right. Well, look, I get it. There are various views on, what U.S. policy toward Israel should be. But there shouldn't be various views when it comes down to basic issues revolving around humanitarian law, revolving around whether or not people, even in war situations, have access to health care, can have access to food and water. I mean, people are dying because we're not being able to get the proper medicines and the proper equipment to people in need. And I would like to think that we could build a consensus around that. I'm finding that it's almost impossible to build a consensus around that with this administration.
They care. Hamas reportedly dissolves Gaza governing body as resistance factions welcome move. Aardvarkland Media dismisses it. An anonymous Hamas official told AFP earlier today that the movement had decided to dissolve its governing body in the Gaza Strip and appointed a nationally accepted figure to oversee its affairs until the National Committee for the Administration of Gaza, NCAG, formally assumes its responsibilities. The official, who was not authorized to speak publicly, said Palestinian factions had already been informed of the decision. Hamas has not yet issued a official public statement confirming the move, although it announced an important press conference later today. I think we do have some of that press conference. Yes, Hamas dissolves Gaza government, urges swift entry of U.S.-backed technocrats. Aardvarkland has blocked the technocratic committee from entering Gaza over ties to the Palestinian Authority and is reportedly planning a full resumption of the genocide. And so they know that, and they're like, hey, we're not even here. We're not part of this. And no, they're going to go take all that land and whack all those people, leave or die, and you'll probably just die. Gaza's government, let's see, the Gaza Strip's longstanding governing body said in a statement, covered that. Let's see here. Anything else? Times of Aardvark Land said that the move is largely symbolic and has little practical effect. But I thought Hamas, the terrorist, that doesn't really matter so much. We're coming to learn, as they could care if you call yourself the man in the moon. They don't care. Here now, they're going to take that land. Citing Aardvark Land officials, Channel 12 out of Aardvark Land reported on July 4th that Aardvark Land expects a U.S.-led Board of Peace to issue a determination within the next 2 to 3 months, claiming that Hamas has violated the ceasefire agreement by refusing to disarm. Such a determination could pave the way for Aardvark Land to renew military operations in parts of Gaza that are not currently occupied by Aardvark Land forces. They say over 70% is occupied now. They're looking to take the whole thing. Hamas is trying to get out in front of it. So it looks like they're saying, it don't really matter. They're still going to go ahead and continue the genocide. We shall see. Hopefully not. Here's a long report from Al Jazeera. I want to play a little bit of it on the whole dissolvement of Hamas in Gaza.
Well, after running the Gaza Strip for nearly 2 decades, Hamas has announced the dissolution of its governing committee. This paves the way for a transitional technocratic committee to assume responsibility. The committee's activities will be overseen by the Board of Peace, which was set up by US President Donald Trump when the ceasefire between Hamas and Israel was agreed in October.
The head of the emergency committee has just resigned. The government has been dissolved for the preparations to transfer the national roles to the Gaza Management Commission. It's with confidence that all the preparations for the handover of legal responsibilities of Gaza Strip has been completed. These arrangements were presented in a transparent and official manner to the delegation representing the Palestinian factions and the Higher Commission of Tribes.
Well, despite the ceasefire, Israeli attacks are continuing across Gaza. Israeli forces have killed at least 6 Palestinians.
They're trying to get out in front of this thing. It ain't going to work. Aardvark Land has released 17 Palestinians back into the Gaza Strip following months of captivity. Upon their return, all 17 individuals were transported to Nasser Hospital to undergo medical examinations and receive the necessary treatment. So yeah, as that report, at least 6 Palestinians have been killed in the last 24 hours there in the Gaza Strip and 20 others injured. And they go through here and document the different deaths and injuries. Since the ceasefire took effect last October, Aardvark Land forces have killed 1,072 Palestinians, including 248 children, 114 women, and 33 elderly people, and wounded 3,463 Palestinians, including 965 children, 613 women, and 148 elderly people. During that period, Aardvark Land forces also carried out 1,571 airstrikes and shelling attacks, 1,384 live fire attacks, 146 military incursions, 395 explosive home demolitions across Gaza, and that's your ceasefire. And they go through documenting it all here. I'll post the link here at Weaponized News Substack with all of the details for those interested. Jerusalem, Aardvark land forces and settlers carried out 540 documented violations in occupied East Jerusalem during June, according to the Mata Palestinian Information Center. The center said 11 Palestinians have been killed, 191 wounded, and 866 arrested in the Jerusalem governorate during the first half of this year. The report says more than 8,900 ultra-Zionist settlers entered the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound alongside 20 reported desecration incidents and 2 expulsion orders targeting Palestinian worshippers and residents maintaining a presence at the site. Aardvark land forces also carried out 71 arrests, 102 raids, 183 movement restrictions, and 32 home demolitions there in occupied East Jerusalem. And they keep desecrating their Al-Aqsa Mosque, third highest holy site. They're trying to provoke Muslims to attack. And then, of course, it'll be the biggest victim cry show ever. But you guys literally did everything you could to provoke these Muslims to attack you. Nope, they're still the victims. Everybody that says you provoked them, you're the bad ones. Aardvark's the victims. As for now, as forever. Systematic demolition of agriculture industry in the occupied West Bank. Dozens of olive trees, Nablus, are being stolen or destroyed essentially now in the occupied West Bank on Palestinian land. Here's life under occupation in Hebron. Palestinian activist Isa Amoro. Let's watch this short report from him. We can get things going here again. Here we go.
This is the life under the occupation in Hebron. You come to the checkpoint, it's midday. The soldier is moody and he doesn't want to open the checkpoint, and he says the computer is not working. He's there, but to make our life harder and harder, it's a kind of intimidation, dehumanization, and this is the ethnic cleansing which they use against us. It's not about security, it's about not allowing people to enter their home. This is the main checkpoint in Hebron. Around 200 families are living inside, and the soldiers are dehumanizing them, intimidating them, and making their life harder and harder.
They have open air prisons essentially set up all over. Aardvark land finance minister and settler leader Smotrich from the Jordan Valley said, "We will not allow Iran to smuggle weapons across the eastern border to carry out another October 7th style attack. This morning, we deployed dozens of drones and vehicles that will help thwart weapon smuggling, and will continue building more settlements, which will serve as protective walls for Ramallah, Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and for all of Aardvark land. And if Iran doesn't smuggle in the weapons, they will. And if Iran or their militia proxy groups don't attack, they will." Study finds Microsoft complicit. I added those parts, by the way. Study finds Microsoft complicit in Aardvark land mass surveillance of Palestinians. A newly released study by the 7 Amal Arab Center for the Advancement of Social Media reveals that tech giant Microsoft is directly assisting unlawful Aardvark land surveillance of Palestinians. The report, authorized by researcher Sarah Fataha and initially launched on June 23rd at Birzeit University, details how Microsoft infrastructure stores intercepted Palestinian phone call data for Aardvark land occupation. This highly sensitive information is reportedly hosted within Microsoft data centers located in the Netherlands and Ireland. According to the investigation, Aardvark land intelligence agencies feed the captured voice data directly into advanced artificial intelligence algorithms. This process converts Palestinian speech into unique biometric identifiers functioning effectively as vocal fingerprints similar to facial recognition markers. The system enables the occupation forces to rapidly identify targeted individuals in real time. The study warns this biometric tracking is systemically linked to broader Aardvark land security and geographic databases. By providing the essential cloud hosting and infrastructure for these voice harvesting algorithms, the U.S. tech corporation faces direct accusations of technological complicity in maintaining Aardvark land's digital architecture of control over the Palestinian population. See what they're doing to those Palestinians? You'd say, I hate the Muslims, they're terrorists, they're Hamases, all this. You could say all that and believe it, but you better also believe they're going to use all this for you here at home, America, USA, and all that jazz. As again, they're using the Palestinians as military test subjects for the treachery they can pull off on them. It's all going to be pointed back here at home at you and I. Extremely concerning, to say the least. Okay, have heavy bombs started flying? Not quite yet. Let's check out Iran International latest headlines, and we'll wrap up this Wednesday edition as we're past the 3-hour mark. Give me that like, share, subscribe, push that notification button. We only did a little short commercial break for 3 hours of hardcore news here for you today. Latest headlines out of Iran International: tanker in Hormuz catches fire as Khomeini funeral continues. Anun defends Lebanon's presence at Khomeini's funeral before U.S. visit. U.S. lawmaker calls for end to Iran talks after Khomeini funeral threats. The end of one-man rule. Iran tests life after Khomeini. IRGC fired missiles at ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Not good. Not good. And a bunch of pissed off Iranians waving the red flag of vengeance. Khomeini's body arrives at Iran's Qom. Hamas dissolves Gaza governing body. Now headlines out of Al Jazeera. U.S. officials blame Iran for attack that ignited fire on tanker off of Oman coast. Oil prices tick up as attention shifts to supply and demand. What? What? There's actually economic laws that govern the price? Not just rig everything. You know what I mean? Supply and demand are a conspiracy theory in Letnick Trump economy. Everything's rigged. U.S. ministers EU ministers, to discuss trade measures against Aardvark land settlements. Aardvark attacks keep more than 600,000 Lebanese from returning home. That's all that we got today. MAGA agenda on display. FIFA Trump slammed amid rigging controversy, essentially. So where are we at with it? And then we'll wrap up this show with the World Cup. Yeah, U.S. lost 4-1 to Belgium. Good. Everything Trump touches turns to shit. It's toxic. And the only way they could do anything is rig everything beyond imagination through blackmail, through literally pointing a gun at your face. It's just absurd at this point. Quite literally absurd. So sadly enough, USA lost in the World Cup to Belgium. All right, let's head over to the channels. Let's head over to the Odysee channel now. Click through a few times. Let's see if we have any viewers over there in the chat. We do have a few people there. Shout out on the Odysee to Highland Pink, Scott. Scott's new. Scott from New York City says, yeah, he has a bell to play with now. Most of the church bells across Europe and Russia were melted down after World War I. Indeed. Indeed, marching with American and Confederate flags is a total contradiction. The Confederacy was at war with the United States government. Strong indeed. Let's see. They're not beholden to God, instead with money and power. I'm guessing they could sink your fleet in 5 minutes. Oh, this is triggering. Pink says. All right. Thank you guys for chatting it up over there on the Odysee and keeping that going. Thank you for everybody tuning in on X, Bitchute, Kick, Substack, Facebook, Rumble, and YouTube. Let me head over to the chats on Rumble and YouTube. I'll go about halfway up. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in on those channels. Shout out again to Fat Bob for his patronage to the store. Appreciate it. Shout out to Mac on the YouTube. How about a piece of the Wailing Wall for whatever is left of the Rose Garden? Might as well, right? Might as well. Good point there. Shout out to Silver on the Rumble. Fat Bob looking for assignment commentary. I did not check it today. He says, you think Simon exited the stage left? I think Simon did and does have, last time I talked to him, serious medical issues. But he did send me the link to remind me about the big NATO summit. So Simon's still active there. I think he did take a step back, though, like I said, due to medical issues. Let's see here now. Yeah, I think I answered. I don't know, honestly. I think Simon's still around, but again, not in good health. Jim says very sick people on the YouTube. Section 219 of the NDAA. Indeed. The Massey is still trying to work on getting that out. So we'll see. MH, hello from Brazil. Hello. Great channel. I randomly came to find out. Well, thank you for joining us there from Brazil. Vote on 2019 NDAA on or before June 14th. That's got to be wrong. We're way past June, maybe July. Let's see. You guys started a revolution already or not? Tucker interviews Kucinich about it today. Let's see here. I'm exasperated already, Sam Fat Bob says. I have to go. Good night, Sam. Boss shirt I got. Can't wait for the new order. Well, thank you again. Yeah, good question. When you celebrating independence from the occupiers? Well, that's a very sensitive subject. There's a brilliant film called Not One Less, and I don't usually like or recommend cinema. Max says. Without understanding the deep history of the rave massacre, you're saluting Big Brother. Big sis. Says this is where I fall for it. All right, friends, thank you for tuning in on all the channels. It was a long show today. We had a lot to cover. Hey, they're waving the red flags of vengeance there in Iran. Stay vigilant out there, as this thing's far from over with Iran. As always, everybody do your own research, peace, love, and freedom. Speak out and take action. Have a great rest of your Monday evening, and we'll be back here on Tuesday for more Weaponized News.